Hello and welcome to the first official tournament of the new Open Division. So, and joining me is Ocean. We'll be looking at Hour Zero versus United Smackheads. And Ocean, what do you think of these two teams?
Well, R0,
coming
of course, they are, the previous champions of the last Open Division season. Of course, also the champions of Trial of Champions. And additionally, just off of the back of a third place finish in Contenders Trials North America, of course, only getting beat on by Square One and Uprising Academy in a very, very tough group. But R0, we know who they are. Absolute kings on that roster. Just going to read that off. Vita and Salty on the tank line. That's what I want to watch today because those are usually the players that either make the game for them or sometimes break it, I've noticed. But I really, really do like their tank line. But they're against United Smackheads, which is NA avoided, basically like a B-Tech NA avoided. You've got your Hammerman, you've got your Dyslexia, and of course, you've got your Aquamarine. So you're definitely going to see some Junkrat play today.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what both teams choose to run. Obviously, not NA avoided United Smackheads. They'll be looking to run these more one-tricky, these more gimmicky type comps compared to Hour Zero, who'll be trying to stick to the meta, we would assume. But it's obviously anyone's guess to what they may run to counter the comps that may come out of NA avoided. Apologies, United Smackheads. So obviously, United Smackheads, they're going to have this ball. They're likely going to have a Junkrat, and how best would you say Hour Zero would be to play against these comps?
Well, they could play the more traditional style of ball composition right now. You've got like the Ball Diva, which is kind of an adaptation of the Wrecking Ball Sigma composition that we had. It's of course a little bit more brawl based and more brawl based, than poke based. So we will probably see the Ball Diva from them if they want to apply them at their own game. But what R0 were great at before our brawl composition, so I could see them running some Ryan Diva. Vita is a great Reinhardt player, Salty a great Diva player. So if they do run Ryan Diva, they definitely won't feel uncomfortable. And of course, Tenta will be on Lucio in that case. And Tenta's Lucio is an absolute joy to watch.
Yeah, that's so really interesting to see whether they do pull out brawl comp. It's not run commonly due to the Echo, obviously, recently. And you think will play part in the match? Sure.
Well, it's difficult to say because I mean R0. I don't really think whatever and I avoided throw at them. Or sorry, United Smackheads. It's hard not to call them that. They've been that for so long, and it really is.
Especially rocking that not any avoided logo right over there.
That's actually what threw me off.
It's really messing with me.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't really think R0 will really be thrown off by anything that they go at. I mean, Aquamarine, yes, will play a crazy aggressive Junkrat style. Hammerman will be disrupting as much as they can. But realistically, I just don't see United Smackheads finding a way through R0. They're a very tight unit. They are a very consistent team. They always utilize their win conditions so well. And I just don't really see a way through to them. The only way is if they kind of make it an individualized game. If they could somehow break that solid R0 line and make it about individual duels, then actually R0 could be in a lot of trouble because we know how good these United Smackhead players are. So for R0's case, hopefully that doesn't happen, but United Smackheads, if they can force those individual duels, they'll be in a better position.
Yeah, if they can play this sort of disruption comp, it seems, force Hour Zero away from their grouped up, their well-played team comps, and into these individual one-on-ones, United Smackheads, they're going to have the individual advantage. They specialize in these characters. They know the ins and outs, the intricacies, and how to deal with every hero with the character. So I think in Hour Zero's case, you'd almost be looking for them to play as aggressive as United Smackheads were to shut down any likelihood of this happening before it can do.
Yeah, what is interesting to me is to see the new faces. Well, not really new. They've been here for a long time now on R0. But since the last Open Division season and Trial Champions season and for Contenders Trials as well, they've got some new faces. So Sluggo is in for Aramori. Aramori isn't playing anymore. She was a great flex support player. And Maxwell isn't playing anymore. They've been replaced by Brooks. So in this situation, it's going to be interesting to see how those two look, particularly when they're back in Open Division. They're the reigning champions. I'm looking at those two players as well as their tank line to see how still with their teammates and how their replacements for those previous champions look to line up in this roster?
Yeah, it's really interesting to see whether these pieces will click as well as before. Our Zero, they've had that this old stuff at most you'd expect them to come up and like gaining what previously had. And it's new, it's going to be a lot easier for teams to establish themselves in this meta because it's quite possible players less leaving teams now. It's more environment for players to grow as a team rather than jumping between teams between tournaments depending on results.
Yeah, I could see that being the case. Of course, with this pro point system, it rewards players staying on the same team as playing on the ladder together, and of course, a more competitive environment on the ladder. Of course, it's not the most perfect system; can be a little bit exploited on the ladder. We're not here to talk about that though. But hopefully, we do see a lot more teams with a lot of identity. If you see a team with an identity, usually they're really strong, and if teams are together for a long time, of course, they're gonna develop that identity slowly.
We've seen these identities in the past, largely from these one teams. They tend to come in with big identities. We obviously had Avoided recently, and obviously looking back, Clockwork Vendetta, probably one of the biggest identities that we've ever seen. They came in, they swept through, they played their style, and they had that style of play. And teams can't deal because they're not prepared to deal with a specific style this level. So I think the introduction of a ladder system is incredibly beneficial as it's giving all teams more chance to prepare for what's coming.
Yeah, I actually agree with that point. And actually, I think there's a couple more recent examples. I think during the most recent Open Division season, R0 was one of those teams that had a really distinct identity along with NAWeek. They were really, really strong at those Blackout Brawl competitions. NAWeek preferred to play the Reinhardt variant of that. And, sorry, no. R0 preferred to play the Reinhardt variant and NAWeek preferred the Winston variant, but both of them were really, really strong Blackout Brawl teams. And that was Diva Winston / Reinhardt, Sombra Reaper, or Tracer, and Lucian Moira. And they were both really, really good at their composition, but they also had very distinct playstyles. R0 were typically very methodical and really good in the EMP war. And NAWeek, they just ran at teams. They just ran at teams, hacked something, shot things, and that's exactly how they like to play. But that's definitely the most recent example that I can think of.
Yeah, so will be interesting whether this methodical rule comp gets the case that is United Smackheads. United will be in just demolish average to put together in all the C's in the world, all boops in the world, all the stuns in the world. Everything will be coming out to make sure ours just can't get their foot or get out of them. And I think what United Smackheads need to be looking to do is to take control early and win those opening fights to regain momentum really through the series and carry that to a victory.
Yeah, no, I think they do need to get a really strong start because if you get R0 in the groove, you're in trouble because I don't think many teams on this planet will be able to beat R0 when they're in their groove. And I avoided, that they like these crazy chaotic compositions, and what's really beneficial for them is a crazy chaotic map, and that's typically our control maps. And we start off on control as always. In this case, we will start on Busan, but if they can get early captures on control and just disrupt their opponents like that, and of course, running into a Junkrat defending an objective on control is definitely a scary sight. So if they can do that and get a good strong start here, they actually will be in a pretty good position.
I mean, Busan, I personally need a pretty map for ball. It tends to be a decent map for as well, dependent play. Probably best talking all teams in the world that are suffering immensely for not playing the character. It's still for another day. So it's really interesting to see what will actually come out from both teams now as we look to move into the first map.
I'm expecting some sort of variant of Brawl coming out from R0. I think it'll be something like the Blackout Brawl that they played last Open Division season. They also run it for Trial Champions most of the time, and also ran it for a little bit of that Contenders Trial season when we were in a bit of a transitional period. But I can see them running something like that. Some like Ryan Diva. My Crazy Cat is a brilliant Reaper player. and Ted Skirt Lucio players. They might run like Lucio Moira or Lucio Baptiste. I'm not sure what Brooks will play though. Maybe Sombra. I can see them running some sort of Blackout Brawl or maybe a unique brawl composition. I think that's something R0 would like, and I avoided United Smackheads. I'm gonna keep confusing them because I also think it adds to their name and their crazy chaotic style. Is Hammond Man? It's definitely gonna be playing Hammond. Aquamarine if they're not, is going to be playing Junkrat, but if they can, get some disruption in, play these crazy chaotic compositions, we're probably going to see Zarya Bowl or Wrecking Ball with Roadhog. I mean, that's probably going to be their tank point, but they're going to look to cause chaos at all times, and if they can't do that, they're in trouble. But if they can, they might just be able to disrupt R0.
Yeah, I think I agree with the prediction, I guess, for R0 to run this Sombra comp. It would make sense running into what United Smackheads will be playing. They're liking these heroes that are easily shut down, easily taken care of by a Sombra and a good, clean focus. So it's quite possible that the Blackout Brawl comp is the way to go against United Smackheads.
Yeah, and I think these teams have definitely probably met before, and that would have definitely been something that R0 will have looked at, and I think that's something that they'll be comfortable running against United Smackheads. One thing I do want to know is, the map, we've got Sanctuary, we've got Downtown, very good ball points. Hammerman, if they can get a strong start and you're pushing into a Wrecking Ball, and who can force out pile drives and get good combinations off of Junkrat, for example, and heroes like that, then it's definitely going to be difficult. But other than this control map, and other than getting a strong start, R0 are the team to beat here. And it's going to be very, very, very difficult day ahead for United Smackheads.
I mean, if running it for Hammond, who's got mines like every fight off cooldown because he's just farm it so quickly, that's a massive issue on maps such as Downtown, who will be starting with. He's so much cover for the high ground on this map that it's just... Oh, quick little technical issue there. Well, obviously we're starting with that boost on. We know that they're going to give Hammond unless Hammond Main wants to betray his name. So it is just guesswork now. I was onto whether or not any avoid the United apologies will run what they're predicted to run, and it's a big issue for R0. They've got to get this first fight win before that will change the play.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of agree with that sentiment, but even if, United Smackheads start really, really strong on Busan and on Control, I don't really see them having a great foothold in many of the other maps, especially since it's loser's pick. I think R0, again, I've said just before, they're the team to beat here. If United Smackheads pull this off, it'll be a great upset.
Yeah, United Smackheads, they'll be looking at this Goliath hit. They're the David said, they're looking to kill this clearly for a team or this map, and we see whether they're able to pull that off.
Well, we're starting on Downtime, and this is definitely going to be an interesting one. United Smackheads starting with Dyslexia and Aquamarine, so they actually will probably run the Spectre and Junkrat, which means, if there is a hit scan, like a Widowmaker or an Ashe, or even the McCree that is being flashed by a Crazy Cat right now, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to deal with a target like that who's playing from a medium to long range. So that's definitely looking positive for R0 already. We'll see how it fares, though, here on Downtime.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how this double bubble combo run into this. And we really love to see the aim of this team. And I'm having a few difficulties.
It looks like Vita is the first to go down in the fight, and it's a very even fight so far. Both Mercy's down, and it looks like most of the space in and around the point has been taken by United Smackheads. I'm having a couple of difficulties myself, but Dyslexia is the most recent member to go down, and no, my stream's gone.
Yeah, my stream's just completely gone down in Parsec. It's not having a good day after all today.
Yeah, it's typical tier 3. It's typical tier 3 Overwatch. It's just the right amount of scuff for all of us.
We've got just the right amount of scuff to make it a real game of open division. You know, it wouldn't be complete without the scuff. It's not at all possible. So, well, really sorry about these technical difficulties. It's yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on here.
This isn't exactly working out for us. We can't really see much right now, but we want to bring you this Overwatch action as soon as we can. When we can, we will. And what we can talk about though is we can talk about how R0U, they're running this double bubble. Double bubble is being used as consistent competition by a lot of the teams. It's definitely a little more comfortable competition and easier competition than the Wrecking Ball Divas that we are seeing from a couple of other squads. So you've got those two really good compositions, one really, really difficult and relies on a lot of micro stuff, which is the Wrecking Ball Diva, and then your double bubble, which R0 is opting for. So that's kind of interesting to see them opting for the double bubble early on, or not. So very interesting.
I mean, I did see the echo from our zero before my parsec just gave up on itself, and I think that will be a very, very it's we can see the stream again. You know, we're seeing these ults coming out right there from our zero. They're moving on to this point as United Smackheads. They seem to have gotten the highest percentage of tick points so far, but our zero are just going to clean up this team fight. They're going to use a lot of ults in the process, but still have a few online for this next fight. As they cap the point, actually, my stream's just caught up to itself. Really terribly sorry about these technical issues. But our zero, they've convincingly taken Busan down. What do you think of that wondrous round that we witnessed here, Ocean?
I mean, we didn't really witness it, but I mean, I saw like the first start of the fight, and it looked like United Smackheads, you know, they took the areas in and around the point and tried to make it difficult for R0 to approach them. And it was difficult. They were able to obtain 10%, and then from there, once that first fight was won, R0, they took the advantage, and they kept the advantage from there.
Yeah, it looks to me like it's a bit of point, but our zero were just able to come in, steamroll them, and hold them for the rest of it. And at the moment, it's going exactly as expected. Dyslexia switching over to the Torbjorn. He's taking my suggestions, it seems. You know, they've listened to me. Busan, the best Torbjorn map.
It's pretty good. Set the Torbjorn up, block some flanks, set up maybe on the back high ground where you can hear. You know, look how many flanks you're blocking. So definitely not a bad pick.
Exactly. No, and I would say it does a soft counter towards the Echo at the very least, you know, keeping her out of the skies as the teams are going to slowly engage. Our zero playing this methodical style that you said in the pre-match, Ocean. They are running this kind of comp, and they're just staying back. They're letting United Smackheads get this point. You know, United Smackheads, they pick up the first pick onto the McCree, and they're just going to drop back now. They're running this Sigma ball and poke for this ultimate charge. You know, they've got the Junker, they've got the Torbjorn, they've got the Sigma. They're playing a nice little poke composition.
I don't see how the Winston fits in here. You know, usually if you're running something like this, yeah, you're going to be patient. You're going to try to get opportunities for your Winston. Yes, you got a kill here, but the rest of your team wants to poke and you want to dive and roll. It's a little bit contradicting.
Yeah, exactly. The Winston with the nano goes in, creates enough space there for Crazy Cat to find the pick onto Dyslexia, and Crazy Cat will find another. But United Smackheads, they're going to come back with two. However, our zero, they take this point and they're going to clean up the fight now, force United Smackheads out, back to spawn as Aquamarine's just trying to poke to get the rest of that charge.
But if I was United Smackheads here, you know, I wouldn't be too angry. You know, 30% on the point, you didn't really even have to take a fight because R0, they're playing this competition, they're waiting for that nano boost onto the Winston because they're waiting to poke with all their members, but they need the space as well. So that Winston eventually has to go in and commit, but with not much support, but an early kill already with the Critic Flux combo with the Echo Sticky Bombs.
Yeah, we see the Echo Sticky Bombs go straight onto that Mercy, and the Echo coming out here, he's got the damage boost, he's just trying to melt down everyone, and it looks to me like, oh, Switch comes out there over onto the Junkrat from Echo, pops his ult, here comes the tire, will it be able to find it? We gets the ball, and that's a nice clean fight win pretty quickly there from our Zero. They've won it efficiently.
Yeah, well, they do expand Duplicate and Gravitic Flux, two of their better ultimates to engage with, so it'll be interesting to see if they just throw in Anubis onto the Winston here. Actually, going right in with the Deadeye, and that's one kill onto the Zenyatta. This fight might as well be good as done right at the spawn doors. And Reptile coming out from Upcore and gets nothing.
I mean, our Zero, they're playing this really, really nicely. They're able... They're at this point able to just hold them at the spawn door. You know, Hammond Main slept in the backline, and the Winston going straight to the spawn door. He's going after United Smackheads, and Sigma hops his whole thing off the map. He rocks Vita right off the map. What a play there from Fugger. It's Winston in his face, punching him off the map, and he pops that Gravitic Flux just to get back to safe land. Rocks him right off, and that's a really nice cap after a great play there from Fugger.
I think that's the first clip we're going to see on the Reflash OW channel, to be honest. I think that's definitely something to have. But look, United Smackheads, they don't really use much that fight, really. Riptire and Gravitic Flux, they're already close to the next Gravitic Flux halfway there. They've got loads of ultimates there. I mean, they have so many choices. They can start early with Valkyrie, they have Transcendence for the late fight, and R0, they've still got a poke based on their composition to even build up stuff. As we saw before, it's very hard for them to engage.
Yeah, we see an early mine coming out there from Hammond Main onto our Zero. Sorry, but our Zero will pick up the early pick there onto Mercy. That's a huge pick. There's no res, and it's forced out the Transcendence here from Hatsune Miku on the side of United Smackheads. The Winston, nano boosted straight into the back lines. There goes one, there goes two. The Gravitic finds a third, and that's a very, very quick fight. Recapture. With that Winston, now go to the point.
Yeah, and that is it. R0, they always have a plan going in each and every fight, and this is why I love R0. They're a very proactive team for one, and if you've seen an Ocean broadcast, you know I love a team that goes in, makes the first move in the fight, always puts their opponents on the back footing. That's exactly what they did. Look at this, like for example, they're in their spawn using ultimates, making sure that they're the first team to make a move in the fight. And usually, actually, what I was noticing is they were targeting better a lot. The Mercy on the side of United Smackheads, you know, they would Gravitic Flux her early in the fight. They would, you know, force the Echo Duplicate to try and get onto that Mercy as much as they could. So maybe that's a weak point that they're looking at. They're trying to get onto the Mercy of United Smackheads.
Yeah, so I think them playing straight onto the Mercy is a really good game plan here from our Zero, because the United Smackheads, they've not got much heals left for the comp they're trying to run with only a Zenyatta in play. You know, they've got to heal that ball. They've got to heal the Junkrat, the Torbjorn. There's a lot to go on for just a Zenyatta to heal, and that forced out Transcendence a lot of the times when the Mercy died first to keep his team alive, and managing to peel away such a big ult from a team is absolutely huge on the side of our Zero. They pretty much never had to worry about Transcendence blocking any of their ults.
Yeah, one thing I didn't like from United Smackheads, I actually thought some of their picks were interesting. Of course, you're going to see Aquamarine Junkrat. Dyslexia is going to be playing those weird off-branded heroes. But I think the reason that they actually struggled with keeping their Mercy alive is they didn't really ever have a backline. Usually, you know, Mercy Zen, pretty solidified backline. You got Mercy pocketing your Zenyatta, you know, you try and shut down any flankers, and you'll have your Sigma there as well, because when we've seen their Sigma Wrecking Ball composition, the Sigma was always with the Perdita and the Zenyatta in that composition. They were kind of bodyguards to make sure the Zenyatta could get into the fight and get good Discord orbs. Fugger was nowhere to be seen when we're looking at the backline of United Smackheads. Dyslexia was nowhere to be seen when we're talking about their backline. And I think that might be the reason that R0 are focusing this Mercy so well.
I mean, it was incredibly interesting, Fugger's style of play on Sigma. He almost ran him as a diva in a dive composition. You know, he's going in, he's using those kinetic graphs to eat as much as he can. And he did leave his backline quite exposed, this Echo. And with the Echo forcing him out of position, Crazy Cat on McCree was just able to run in, pick off those 3 kills effectively, and it was a very clean... Apologies, stumbled over my words. It was a very clean set of fights there from Arrow Zero to just take the points.
It looks like we're going into Havana. It looks like they want to play a map with long sightlines, and I don't know if they have a Widowmaker player on their roster or an Ashe player. I think that's something that they definitely have to look at if this is the map they're going for their escort choice. Otherwise, I really would have expected something like Dorado, especially if you've got Aquamarine on your team. You want to play Dorado and take up those close chokeholds, especially on point A and point C. I could definitely see that being a strategy, but we're going to Havana. It's going to be an interesting one. Let's see if maybe they can have a more comfortable backline. That's actually a really good comparison you made on, Focus running the Sigma like a Diva. Because currently in the Bold Diva composition, they're playing Diva like Sigma before in the Wrecking Ball Sigma composition. So maybe something's got lost in translation there. It's a little bit backwards here from United Smackheads, but they are a bit of a backwards team. They don't usually play the traditional styles that you want to see in Overwatch, but R0, what a great start from them.
Yeah, NAWeek really came straight out of the gate on this one. They took both points with little resistance from United Smackheads, and honestly, it's kind of going the way we expected at the moment. There's not too much push from United Smackheads, but you see, picking a map like this, surely you've got to think that they have a game plan in mind.
Well, we're going to see Try Too Hard. I think that means we're probably going to see a little bit of Roadhog or Zarya come into the mix, and actually, I'll completely lie. It's going to be Arista by the looks of things as we see. But let's talk about the defense. That's something we know for sure. With this Lucio Baptiste, Diva Reinhardt, May McCree, I could either see a spawn camp coming where they try to get as much time off the clock and just play this brawl game. But also, R0 are just good at brawl in general, so they might just stick with it.
Look at this. You were right about their lovely little blackout brawl coming in. But we see a McCree instead of a Reaper or a Sombra or even a Tracer. I wonder how many times we'll see Flashbang in these Flashbang Fan the Hammer in these team fights. Melt through those tanks as quickly as possible. McCree, absolute tank buster at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, no Reaper currently, but I think they're just looking to get time with the clock, and also in case you do see a hit scan come out of Aquamarine and Dyslexia, you've got my crazy cat to duel them. But yeah, they're just going to look to spawn camp here and get tons off the clock, but they've already lost Saga.
Yeah, I mean, the picks have come out really quickly here from, obviously, United Smackers. They got that first pick there, but NAWeek, they just have that brawl straight into United Smackheads' faces, and are able to just pull it back. When we see a switch over to the Bastion from United Smackheads, they're looking to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
I mean, you would think right now you lost your main source of heals in the Baptiste, you would just be backing up, but they're just looking to get time off the clock. That's the objective. Dyslexia on the Bastion, looking to get high amounts of burst damage, but it's just not happening right now.
Yeah, Brooks on the May, he's just able to find it, and the Diva runs right into his face, and with Immortality at the spawn door, United Smackers, they can't even leave the Petite static owner. The fights, they're over before they're even starting, Ocean.
Dyslexia on the May to try and play this May will give May one of these characters in Overwatch where she is her own best counter, but look, ultimates for R0 online, they've already got that sound barrier if they need it, but they're just looking to get time off the clock here, and they've already successfully done that.
Yeah, United Smackers, they've had success now. They've switched over to their own Ryan Zarya, and they're able to find these picks to push them out of spawn. FFDA will get the pick on Aquamarine, but it's hopeless at that point. They're just stalling now for a little bit more time, and time they've taken, what's that, a minute and a half off the clock.
Yeah, minute and a half off the clock, but look at their ultimates. They're going to have both tank ultimates, both support ultimates, and both teams. They're going to have everything. They're going to have a full set of ultimates R0. They can basically come into this next fight with any plan they want, and we know how good R0 are at setting up fights. But Aquamarine has the opportunity with this Riptide to shut everything down.
Yeah, he could be going for a very quick fight with an FFDA. He's got him out of the AFK speaking in, and immediately Tyre's not going to find anybody. Shatter comes in from United Smackheads, but beat Grav used from United Smackheads too. All the ults being thrown in tank-wise, and both support ults, both DPS ults thrown out as well by NAWeek, and they're just going to come out on top here. United Smackheads, they're left with nothing in the bank here, Ocean.
Yeah, and they're running out of time as well. Realistically, they have one big fight with ultimates left, and they still have to charge up those ultimates. But realistically, the only chance they're winning that last fight when R0 have 6 ultimates and they're such a good team at fight planning is that they got a pick with Aquamarine. And unfortunately, actually Aquamarine was the one that ended up getting picked, and now ultimate advantage still with R0 as the bomb comes in.
The bomb comes in, doesn't find anybody, but Vita's able to move right onto the front line there. The Mercy falls first, and there's Aquamarine getting the pick that you said, but it's already too late. The tanks from Hour Zero are just rushing straight onto United Smackheads, and we're seeing a very, very clear, well, difference in the tank lines here, as you stated before the match.
Yeah, Bitter going down first yet again, but she can't really be blamed for that. That self-destruct from Salty was great because it gives so much space to beaters to run up in their faces, and it looks like exactly what they're going to do again.
Yeah, we see right in the faces, there's the mail. It's just going to clean up this fight, and United Smackheads, they need this really quick regroup now. They've got these ults coming online, they're nearing the Mercy, they've got the Aquamarine Tire, they're nearing Shatter. But will it not just be nearing these ults when Hour Zero have them?
It's got to be a massive Riptire from Aquamarine if there's any chance of them coming back into this map. Otherwise, it's going to be a brutal Havana.
Over the rooftops, will he be able to find anything? No, he doesn't. Blocked there. Lovely play there from Vita. He's able to block it. There goes the Shatter onto Dyslexia. He won't finish it, but he's forced out a lot of crucial cooldowns as well as the Coalescence and Valk from Smackheads. Aquamarine goes forward. He will find Crazy Cat and the ults. They're chipping away at Hour Zero. Try hard in the backline, and looks like United Smackheads, they've won this overtime fight thanks to a very, very nice set of support ultimates.
Yeah, the Riptire was the main threat, and they actually got the hard bit done, did Hour0, and then they surpassed the Riptire, and then they went in aggressively, but they didn't actually have the follow-up to do so. But they will have another fight on point A, and they will have Sound Barrier and Blizzard. I think they're just going to run it right into the faces and try and get that Blizzard off.
Yeah, you know, obviously Grab's going to come straight out here from Fugger as much as he can before being picked off. And immediately Crazy Cat gets one, gets two. Crazy Cat is going crazy, and he's done it! United Smackheads, they won't get on this point. The pressure from the Hour Zero tanks as well as Crazy Cat spraying down is just too much for them to handle, and that's a lovely first point full hold for Hour Zero.
I don't see this Havana pick at all now. I maybe thought, you know, we'll sub in a Widow player. We have a bunch of unique players with unique styles. Maybe we'll play Havana and try something new. But I don't see anything realistically from United Smackheads here. Yeah, they tried to hard in, and they had that one good play and that one good team fight that they won. But other than that, I don't see this Havana choice. R0 just looked the better team by far now. Their fight planning is better. Their execution on fights is better. You know, that self-destruct and Blizzard play in the third and fourth fights of the game just to create space for their Reinhardt. Better. They're playing around the Riptires. R0 the better team right now, and I don't see a way back for United Smackheads.
You know, I think United Smackheads came into this with a plan. Their comp at the start, it looked like they had their plan for it. But I think Hour Zero have just thrown their plan out of the window. There's nothing they can do about it, but we from United Smackheads now, it looks like a variation of what Hour Zero did on the first defense to try and hold them in the spawn for as long as possible. This time with a Sim and Junkrat instead of the May Creed.
Yeah, and I mean, Dyslexia will be really comfortable in this symmetric here. That's something, but I think they've noticed they're going double bubble. They're going to put a lot of pressure on the Dyslexia early. They're going to double Vita, and they're going to focus this symmetric on first. I think that's going to be their goal for R0.
We're looking at the Monkey pick, and I think the Monks are good. They've switched to the Echo as well. R0, you know, they're really looking to just pick off this Junkrat, which I think is the main issue at the moment. You know, United Smackheads, they don't have anything to deal with this Echo, really, because neither of their DPS are able to do this instant damage onto it in the air. And but currently United Smackheads, they're doing their job, they're keeping Hour Zero in this spawn. However, the Nano comes out already onto Vita. He finds one, a second is found, there goes a third, and that was a lovely play there from Hour Zero. You know, the Nano right onto Vita, and he's pulled it out of the bag. A team kill for Hour Zero.
That fight was always going to go that way. As soon as that Nano boost was built up and Vita went on to the United Smackhead front line, didn't even dive into the back line, just straight onto the front line, it was done. They had nothing to do with the massive amount of cleave that was getting provided, especially in the Nano boost, but that'll help them out. An early pick onto Brooks to stop the spam damage coming in.
Yeah, there won't be the spam damage, but here comes the grab. It should be here because Brooks, yeah, again though. Aquamarine once more. Look, you need a hit scan when you have a Junkrat. And, you know, Power Zero, they're just going to look to sustain fight here, get these picks, and Crazy Cat's going to find one of them onto the Zarya from United Smackheads. And these are some really nice picks. Crazy Cat, he's got that ult. He's going along the rooftops. Oh, don't do it. The Winston punches him out, and he finds two. Great Cat, nice picks there off the gas line, and the Bang Monkey won't even let United Smackheads get on Carter. That's a really, really quick capture there from our Zero. They've done everything right, Ocean.
Yeah, R0, their fight planning has been better. The execution of said fight plans has been better. There's not been one moment in this match where I've seen the fight plan that they're going for and they haven't executed it. No, they've been absolutely flawless so far today in today's matchup. Yeah, Smackheads, I mean, they haven't played horribly, realistically. I mean, in map 1, you could question their backline play in particular Fugga not playing with their backline and having a solidified backline. Then also you could question their map pick of Alana. I just don't really see a way back into it right now for United Smackheads. R0 are just that good right now.
Yeah, I think against a less organized team, United Smackheads would be thriving, and I think that's what they look to do as a composition. They run against these unorganized teams, they take advantage of the chaos and they roll with it. But against such a coordinated team like our Zero, there's not too much that United Smackheads are able to do. They've got this. Well, our Zero have this teamwork on lock, and it's something that United Smackheads just aren't able to deal with due to their inflexible nature. They have been flexing, but I don't think to a high enough level where they can contest the heroes that our Zero are running.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big problem for them. But I think the bigger problem is R0 is setting the pace of this game for one. They have the better fight plans. Every single fight plan is executed beautifully, but also every single team fight, they go into that team fight with a plan, and they do their plan before United Smackheads do anything, right? We want to flex the Mercy, we'll flex her as she walks out of spawn. They are the proactive team, and every single team fight, United Smackheads will be on the back foot, and that's something you can't really have. We'll see if they can sort it out after a quick break. We'll be back soon.
welcome back to this Open Division tournament. You know, the first of the new format, and currently we've got Hour Zero versus United Smackheads, and Hour Zero, they're 2-0 up. They've been dominating so far, Ocean.
Yeah, I as I said before we went to the break, I'm starting to remember why this is one of my favorite teams to cast. When I watch Overwatch, when I cast Overwatch, I'm looking for a proactive team that looks to take every fight, looks to take every single engagement. That's exactly what R0 do. They create a fight plan and they go for it instantly, right off the bat. They put their opponents on the back foot, put them under pressure, and it works beautifully. And I just remember why I love watching R0 play. And it's been a joy so far to watch them. Unfortunately, United Smackheads haven't gotten any sort of rhythm, and they're also an enjoyable team to watch when they get the chaos going, but it's not quite working out so far.
Yeah, obviously United Smackheads, they're looking for that chaos. They thrive off it, but Hour Zero have just not been relenting at all. They've been playing such a coordinated play style, and even when they lose one at the start of fights, their tank line comes in, rescues it all, and sweeps up a team fight in their favor. And we move on to the next map here. It's going to be Hollywood. What are your thoughts on this map? Obviously,
Yeah. I mean, I could see King's Row or Blizzard maybe being better choices. However, I could see some shenanigans with Symmetra Teleporter being run here on the side of United Smackheads. That's something that wouldn't surprise me if we saw that. But again, it's another map where R0, you know, play some consistent brawl-based compositions or even consistent dive-based compositions like that Double Bubble, which they've already shown us and look really, really strong in Double Bubble. I don't really like this map choice, and I think this is going to be over sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think this is another clean map win here for Hour Zero. You know, I don't think the Junkrat has been suited to handling Hour Zero's comps, to be honest. And I think Fugger's been a lot more aggressive than his backline has allowed for in terms of peeling for them.
I mean, the one thing to note is, you know, every series of Overwatch is not done until it's over, right?
Oh yeah,
you know,
definitely.
You could see a draw in one map, and then the momentum is just gone. The momentum is gone. So say they draw Hollywood here, the momentum's gone for R0. Then we go to Assault next, and Assault again, another momentum killer. A map type that United Smackheads are going to be really, really good at because they've got Aquamarine on Junkrat, pretty good pick on Assault maps, and then suddenly it's 2-1, and the momentum's with United Smackheads. So that's definitely a possibility here, but it's going to be a very, very massive uphill task.
Yeah, United Smackheads, they need to... I mean, if they can end the momentum that Hour Zero are pushing on with, even with just one fight win, and they're looking at coming back into it, you know, Hour Zero on such a high from their fight wins in a row that it's looking risky for United Smackheads to run anything that they're not comfortable with. We will see an Ash pick coming out here finally from United Smackheads. They've got a hit scan to deal with this Echo.
I just don't see how they're going to create space for the Ash to get killed if they're on Orisa Zarya. Very conflicting team composition. You're not going to be able to get your Zarya any charge because Orisa is typically the anchor pick who, you know, forces other players out of position and gets your team into the fight. But actually, you know, creating space, Orisa with Zarya here and getting the Zarya charge, it doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, we see a res forced out already, and that'll lead to Vita just being able to pick off Fugger on the Zarya, who's been sent back to spawn. Aquamarine, however, will find Crazy Cat. That's a nice pick there, a large source of damage gone, but they've still got this damage boosted Echo going straight in onto your team. He's got the purple beam, and Vita as well, the Tesla beam combo, just able to melt through the front line and back line at the same time as Vita. Binds two and forces, I guess, flushes United Smackheads away from choke like rats and drain pipes.
Look at Aquamarine's ult charge on Junkrat. Usually you see that ultimate build up so fast, particularly by Aquamarine. What a great Junkrat player they are. But it's just not happening here. They're unable to get anything set up. R0 in good positions. They've got nano boost on the Vita for early combination next fight, and they've also got a Zarya ultimate here, which is about to come in.
Yeah, the Zarya ultimate comes straight in as well as the nano Winston. Like, it's just completely brutal here. We see Fugger, he will get the pick onto the Ana, and Aquamarine will get a pick. The nano Junkrat pops tire and will find Crazy Cat. That looks like a fight win here for United Smackheads, but the Echo able to pick off one of the United Smackhead supports, the Ana Hatsune Miku. And the Bongo has to be used here. It has to force them back, just so that they can start pushing in this damage to not allow Hour Zero to get back onto the point, get the recontest, and that's exactly what they're doing. Monkey on point, here comes the High Noon, able to find one, and that's a huge pick. Although Tensor will follow the mercy. FD finding more picks, and it looks like United Smackheads will fall as Crazy Cat picks off 3 to end the team fight. Very well played by him, you know. He's able to come in, gets the 4th as well. What a fight.
I mean, you know, looking at that, you know, United Smackheads, they got a little bit of luck. You know, Vita taking the duel with Aquamarine and Aquamarine getting that sly little pick at the end. You know, Vita somehow didn't get to use that Primal Rage ultimate, and from there, it was going to be a very difficult fight for them to win on the side of United Smackheads, and they couldn't win it because they come back in with their ultimates. The Deadeye gets one, and from there, it's going to be a difficult road.
Yeah, I think United Smackheads, they already have this big disadvantage, and I think the momentum that they have been building, I honestly think this intermission might kill it off a little bit, because they had a good momentum after the last team fight. They didn't really use many ults, and they were able to get that ult charge and get those picks, but I think having a break now may just quell what they were trying to throw forwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not been a good day at the office for United Smackheads. Hour Zero, they've been phenomenal. They barely put a foot wrong. I think the first mistake I've seen from them today have been the only mistakes have been 2 mistakes by Vita, actually. I feel Vita made the mistake with his Earthshatter on Havana and one of the team fights. Yeah. They've lost one of the 4 team fights they've lost today. And additionally, you know, the second team fight that they really struggle with on Hollywood, and the only team fight they've lost in Hollywood was when Vita didn't get off that Primal Rage in the duel against Aquamarine, maybe. And they didn't feel like they needed the Primal Rage, but used it later on in the fight to bring it back. So I guess it's not really that big of a deal, but Hour Zero, I mean, I could count 4 mistakes and 4 team fight losses from today. They have been outstanding.
Yeah, I think, on the other hand, we've seen a couple of mistakes come out here from... I've forgotten their name. I am terrible. NA Voided. United Smackheads. There we go. How do I forget a name I said 30 seconds ago? No, I think the nano boost onto the Junkrat last team fight may have been a poor decision. You know, he immediately pops that tire, and by the time he's out of tire animation, the nano boost is gone. And it feels like a huge waste of an ultimate that they could have used right after that tire to get that quick damage and build another one.
I mean, yeah, Aquamarine, I think that nano might have been because they thought Vita was going to get the kill, and Vita was going to win that duel by popping Primal Rage, but that didn't happen. So maybe a panic with the nano boost. I mean, but even running out on Orisa Zarya, I mean, if this wasn't United Smackheads and it wasn't a unique team, I would have probably been harsh and said that's a throw pick. They're throwing right now, and they didn't get anything out of it.
I don't think it's too harsh to, at this point in time, claim that staying on this Orisa is a throw pick. You know, they've not been achieving anything. The horse just isn't doing enough work on the character. And I think when they've looked better, they've won team fights, when they've switched to a Reinhardt Zarya. And that's surprising, because it's not something they want to be running, but it's something they've clearly looked better playing.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't switch to the Wrecking Ball and the Wrecking Ball, and they get into the fight and it's just over. I just don't see anything really from United Smackheads. The only thing I've seen is a cool Aquamarine Riptide when he got nano. That's all I've really seen from them today. I mean, I saw them capture 10% on downtime. I saw a fight win on Havana, and I saw 1 fight win on Hollywood thus far.
What do you mean? The mid-air monkey rock. The mid-air monkey rock. Come on, don't discount it, Ocean. That was a glorious play.
All right, so you got a clip, but then you've also only won 14 fights in 3 maps. I mean, that's definitely concerning.
Well, if you're playing for clips, they've definitely won so far, but they do have this ball coming into the next fight as well as another Riptire almost, and that could be fight winning. You know, they pick off one of these immobile characters early, and they may attempt to still do that, but Crazy Cat's watching this right now, and there doesn't seem to be much opportunity for United Smackheads to do anything. Mines come straight out into the middle of point, but everyone's just able to disperse, and here comes FD. He's walking into the front lines, and there will be a trade out here. And Crazy Cat, he's just able to find another on this McCree. He's been absolutely on fire today. He's been absolutely just steamrolling through United Smackheads, and they need to do something to deal with him.
I'm looking at this, and usually when I watch United Smackheads, or previously, and I avoided, that they are not the teams. They're the team causing chaos, but they just look lost today. When that Nano Boost came on the Vita, they just split and dispersed, and no one knew where anyone was. And that just allowed Salty and Lazari just to walk in, get kills. Crazy Cat walk in, get kills, because they're just so out of position. No one can help each other out. But they've got the Valkyrie, and this is their last chance.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly looks like a communication issues right here. They popped that Valkyrie really early, and it's over before the fight's actually begun. The Valkyrie's done, it's finished, and NAWeek have these big ults, but the Deadeye comes out here, finds FDA, and he's been a very crucial player here so far for NAWeek. Crazy Cat in the backline. Will he be able to deal with it? And he drops down behind them, and he finds one to Marine, and there's no DPS now for United Smackheads, and Brooks, he duplicates Aquamarine just before he dies, gets the pick, gets the tire, and that's another full ocean. Not capped a single point today.
Yeah, when your winners run 4 Open Division, you're expected to at least capture an objective, and maybe again win more than 4 team fights in a series. It's not been a great day at the office. R0 though, they've been superb.
I mean, there's been less team fight wins than Pete. It's really just looking. I mean, you expect they're on the road, and NAWeek need to deliver the knockout blow to finish them off.
And I don't see any situation realistically where R0 don't do that. I mean, yes, you can maybe build a couple of Riptires quickly and shut down a couple of team fights. That's something that would be great for United Smackheads, but is it too late now? I mean, usually I was saying earlier it's not over until it's over, but in this case, I'm not exactly sure.
I think momentum and mentality is coming into play here, and I think NAWeek will now have the better mentality out of the two teams. Like, Smackheads coming back from this, in all honesty, I think they've done really well. And against any other team, I think what they were running would have succeeded perfectly. But NAWeek, they're just looking like such just steamroll all the way through this tournament.
Yeah, and even when R0's fight plans this time around, we saw a couple of times where their fight plan didn't go according to plan, but they had a backup strategy. They were always able to pull out the clutch plays. Not only are their fight plans have their fight plans being strong, but also their clutch factor as well as being absolutely on fire today. Look at Crazy Cat here going for the Zenyatta.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks will die early as Aquamarine proves again that you don't need a hit scan and he could kill it, but it's not been enough so far, and it's unknown whether it will continue to be, but that's good early pressure here from United Smackheads. They are trying to take control of the fight, but that's not good. Bugger gets slept, and Brooks will just melt him with a beam. That's a crazy pick. All the way. Aquamarine, he's trapped in a tight room. He will get the pick, but he'll die himself, and Vita's just able to move backlines, and Brooks, this Echo play, I told you at the start of the series that Echo would be a big part of it. Brooks has proved it. He's got in, he's used that mobile to just clean up United.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for them to get away back into this map, or even this series. They're going to try and get this Tracer in on the point, but they've already lost 2 more members. So Nano Boost on the My Crazy Cat to try and finish it off. And R0, oh no, they haven't quite taken it yet. No, it's over. R0, 3. Smackheads is 0.
NAWeek absolutely holding United Smackheads at every corner. They tried so hard to push onwards, but Brooks and Crazy Cat were just always there to shut them down. Vita, he was in the backlines more than the off-tank for Smackheads.
I mean, I think it's rather generous to say that R0 held them every corner when they didn't get past point A. But we'll maybe leave that joke for another time.
I mean, they did get round 2 of those corners. They just didn't get through the doors, Ocean.
Yeah, but we still didn't see point C at all today, did we?
We never even saw point B. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sure we saw a flanker go over there at one point, but United Smackheads,
they walked through it.
Yeah, United Smackheads, we know they're a good team. It's a shame that they weren't able to put that forward today. I always hate it when teams with so much potential don't get much value out of a matchup. But R0, what a team to watch! They're a team to watch for the rest of the Open Division. They've always been a team to watch, and I'm so glad that we get to see their proactive play style, their clever plays, their clutch factor. It's all back in action, and R0 are back for English broadcasts.
Yeah, our just they held them. It's kind of hard to come up with more ways to describe this match at this point. It was almost like, I mean, using a football reference here, it's almost like San Marino versus Brazil. The outcome was expected from the start, and you hoped that an outcome would be different, but it's not. It was predicted. And they played the way that even we could see they were going to play. And that's a big issue when even when I can see what United Smackers are going to play, our 0 just had them read from the start. They were an open book.
But even so, we actually saw United Smackheads, they played a couple of different heroes today. Faga played a bunch of different off-tank heroes, and the Sigma on Sanctuary, backline wasn't there. They ran Orisa Zarya at one point. They tried a little bit of Ryan's. It's just a bad day at the office for United Smackheads. Hopefully they can get it together in the losers bracket. We can see a little bit more of what we know they can do. That's definitely something that I would love to see. But R0 has to be a round of applause for them. They've been absolutely great, and we'll see what they can do in the next round.
Yeah, our 0 deservedly moving up this round to face unknown opponents. It just looks like a really good run for them shaping up.
And kind of what we expected from R0. Their previous Open Division champions, previous Trial champions. That's actually really hard to say. Why did we name that tournament? I don't know. The champions of Trial champions. Fired and Contenders Trials North America. We know this is a great team, but today just reaffirmed that in everyone's brains, and they're going to be a team to watch.
Yeah, I think there's so many strong teams coming in this tournament. I mean, we saw it yesterday. A lot of unexpected teams get knocked into the losers bracket. I think it'll continue today with a really good day play.
I mean, we saw it in the EMEA. We've got Void 1, out. Arash Peresper, out. Incendia, out. Hostile Takeover, out. There's so many good teams in the EMEA out. Yesterday we saw Nation fall, and they were a top 16 last ONI. A lot of teams are going to be dropping early. The competition is fierce. We'll see how United Smackheads do in losers bracket. But we're going to be moving on in a bit to winners round 5. We'll see you for that shortly.
Welcome back to winners round 5 of the first Open Division tournament of the year with new format. Right now, we've got Dripping Heat versus Side Hustle. We've obviously just seen NA Voided versus Zero Hour, and pretty one-sided game there, Ocean. Hopefully, this one turns out differently. And what's the overview of these rosters looking like right now?
I mean, I'm gonna be a little bit biased. I'm gonna go towards the Side Hustle roster first. I really like the look of this roster. We got Eli and Edison on DPS. And I want to highlight Eli, who played in EMEA most of the time last year. Played on Fourth Dimension most recently, and Eli is a terrific player, really flexible DPS player, enjoyable to watch. And, sometimes you see Overwatch teams, they come and make consistent plays and play the kind of slower paced styles. Eli loves to play aggressive, and that's always fun to watch. Their tank line of Maximus and Milky Man, of course. Milky Man is an ex-contenders champion with Giganti, of course, played with Square One most recently. Big fan of Milky Man as a player. So I really did like this Side Hustle roster, and they're up against a very difficult Dripping Heat team who have won a couple of really good games so far this Open Division.
Yeah, I mean, we see Dripping Heat. They were a bit of a shock to us when we saw that they'd be in this round. They've dispatched incredible opponents, really, and they're punching well above their weight. And hopefully, they're going to be continuing to bloody some noses against Side Hustle. And we should be in for a really tight matchup here, honestly.
Yeah, I think Side Hustle, when I look at the rosters, I look at their team and I think maybe the better roster. But I watched Dripping Heat yesterday when they were playing Ignition. I watched it from Ignition's perspective, and Dripping Heat were great. They were very good. They made consistent plays all around the board. Their backline was very strong indeed. And I think Dripping Heat are going to be a strong team. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, I mean, well, do we have any idea on what compositions might we run? Sorry, the logo's just popped onto the screen, and I have. Do we have any idea of what potential comps might be run by these teams? Obviously, we've seen what's strong last round, and be interesting to see whether or not they continue to run these sorts of comps we've been seeing.
I imagine Dripping Heat would prefer some sort of brawls with Lucio compositions, but because they got Basilisk as a main support, Basilisk is an incredible Lucio player in particular. So I would like to see them run some sort of Lucio-based comp, so most likely Brawl, Lucio Baptiste compositions, and Ryan Diva. I could probably see that. DPS, kind of your choice. Reaper, McCree, May, those sort of options. Side Hustle, I mean, they have a bunch of flexible players. I mean, I look at the roster, I see Milky Man can play almost every main tank to extremely high rate level. Eli can play a lot of DPS, a very flexible player. Madaro and Fishkick as well. As far as main sports go in the tier 3 scene, pretty flexible players as well. So, I'm looking at that, and I think it's going to be a little bit more diverse from Side Hustle. I think Dripping Heat, I would like to see them play Brawl comps, just look at their roster, but we'll see how this turns out.
Yeah, we start out here on Oasis, and this is I mean, in my opinion, it's one of the best maps. You've got everything. All of these comps can work in a form on this map. It just depends on how you play it. So it could really be a true back and forth here, Ocean.
Absolutely. I mean, Oasis, of course, you've got City Center, which is leaning towards dive in the past. We've seen Gardens run Pharah compositions. Of course, Pharah not the greatest pick nowadays. Typically lean towards heroes like Echo, but Gardens you can run Brawl or Dive or even some sort of bunker stuff. You see a lot on Gardens, one of the more versatile maps in this game of Overwatch. And additionally, you've got Oasis University, which is typically a heavy Brawl map, but we have seen some teams try and switch that up and maybe run Dive on that map. We've seen a lot of Winston, of course. Winston now can be run as a Brawl hero. We remember Blackout Brawl primarily had Winston as the main tank, so we could definitely see some unique options here.
I mean, I think a lot of people underplay the role of the high ground on Oasis, and that can be such a key dictator in what teams' comps are played. The control of that high ground can be critical for some comps. They're more pokey. And even, I guess, for Brawl Rush, if you're rushing straight onto them off the high ground, it can be devastating, and it just depends on how both teams play it.
Yeah, I mean, Garden in particular. Garden, if you win the first fight, Garden, it's really hard to get that set up on that round. And because you know, when you're attacking a rush with different multiple angles, and Garnet is so hard to do that on with that high ground because of how many doorways there are and how many stuff. I think it's like so many things. You should a way to start it.
Yeah, I mean, 2 steps. Oh, I think this was just hit a whoopsie. That's everyone's bullshit just got pulled.
Ready for battle.
I'm going back through again. I've been using now, but flash things.
It's like Trippy. They want to go for sort of role position. I wanted to see that from them. They've got battles on the video. Battles with Trippy is very slow. Play for the week. Locked up division, Master Champions. So we'll see how that works for that. And side sorry, it says Lucio Baptiste role compositions for Lucio Baptiste role compositions as they start on gardens. It's a battle for the high grounds. We'll see what these two teams can do. It looks like the side hustle are here first. They roll it off. They don't really get too many targets, so out of position and the with the boot.
Yeah, boops coming out there from both teams and more boops coming in. Look at that. The Lucio over on the side of Drip and Vaztix, he's getting those picks, and the supports have just won that fight there for Drip and a very nice first fight onto the high ground after more technical issues on my end. Apologies.
Yeah. Both Reinhardt's going down early, both going off the map, and then Basil is pulling another kill out of the bag. That's what Basil is able to do on Lucio. Displays and disrupt so much. That's why he was so good in the Blackout Brawl mirror match. It was both teams fight for the high ground again.
Ooh, lovely flick there from Edison onto the Reaper from Drip, and he just knocks him in midair. And here comes Milky Man walking forwards. You know, you pointed him out at the start of this game, Ocean, and he's ended the team fight with that immortality field, and he can swing forever.
I think they actually managed to catch out Drip and Heat. I don't think Drip and Heat were expecting him to regroup and be ready for a push that soon, but they were. They regrouped fast and they set up a pretty nice coordinated push onto that high ground, and they take that high ground for themselves now, and they'll have a little bit more time to set up.
I mean, look at the position we see Eli in. He was waiting over that choke point, hoping they come in with that wall, and the backfield comes out, but it's not on an angle due to his own team's May wall. However, Milky Man, he will manage to pick off the enemy Reinhardt. He gets a second. Milky Man walking forwards as Edison will help pick it off, but Milky Man, he's cleaning up the fight.
Yeah, I mean, they just had the better setup, right? You know, the two backfield ultimates, the amplification matrix for Side Hustle just got a little bit more value. The Bay Walls got a little bit more value. And when those critical cooldowns are getting value, I say Baptiste ultimate amplification.
Eli, there goes the Blizzard onto their heads. What an ult there from Eli. He's hanging out in the rafters, and although Side Hustle, they are getting this flipped on them. The supports from Drip and Heat coming in massive with the immortality field, and the tanks now just going to walk forwards right onto Side Hustle's heads, and they weren't expecting that. The quick immo from 2-0, and he gets a pick himself, and that's a really nice flip there from Drip and Heat.
It's not quite over yet. I think they're just going to try and milk as much percentage as possible. No pun intended. For his Monkey Man being Side Hustle. But, I mean, Drip and Heat, very good fight from them. I feel like Side Hustle was a really niche place to get that Blizzard off, but the immortality field was great from Drip and Heat, and they were able to get through. But Side Hustle, I think they also made that engagement a bit too soon. I think Eli's a great player and loves to go for these great plays, but sometimes, like in that team fight, it doesn't quite work out for them. And now Drip and Heat, look at the ultimates. They're going to have both support ultimates at the start of this next fight, and a pick. Not looking good for Side Hustle.
Yeah, I think unless Constant could fall here as Orchid picks off Amazing, the Lucian beat comes out to save him. There goes Diva Bomb. We'll find Constant. A really nice throw in there from Maximus, and Side Hustle, they're playing really well. It's so methodical. They're picking Drip and Heat apart with these May walls, and Eli's just been absolutely top class with them.
Oh no, the pin! That's going to be a massive stagger, I mean. Oh, they put it into the wall. I was hoping they'd actually manage to keep them on the map and stagger them a little bit more, because that Baby Diva's health is still at a range where you can maybe move her back a little bit more, get a little bit more. But now, Side Hustle, let's look at that. They're defending the objective. It's last fight territory. They've got the Blizzard. That's the ultimate to watch.
Milky Man's got this shot to him, but they can't even get a point! Oh my god, the wall from Eli! He's just not even able to make it onto the point. Oh, Ocean.
Oh, no. That's not what you want when you're Dripping Heat. You know, had a couple of really good fights. You know, the first fight was great, and then you got caught off guard for fight 2. You also, you had that team fight where Eli was up in the rafters, and you managed to deal with that Blizzard extremely well. But when it comes down to these critical, important fights where you have ultimate advantage, when you have player advantage, and you're not winning them, or you're not even touching the point for the last fight, then that's a little bit concerning. It just seems that Side Hustle in these critical fights, not these neutral fights, these critical ultimate fights, are the ones winning them.
Yeah, it's just, that was amazing play there from Side Hustle. They're switching over from the McCree onto the Reaper for this more brawly comp, and we do have a mirror matchup coming in here. Interesting to see, Milky Man gets walled off immediately, manages to peel back to his team with the help of a Maywolf from Eli. We'll see. They're pushing into this room, the immortality field goes down early, but Milky Man, he'll find Karama. He's getting all of these early picks because he's just being pocketed by his team, and Edison is now able to walk forwards. And I mean, Chuo has been getting these kills, but it's always right at the tail end of a fight, just as his team is being cleaned up by Milky Man. And it's really nicely played there again from Dripping Heat. Not Dripping Heat.
Side Hustle. I mean, look at Side Hustle right now, and look at the ultimates. Milky Man got the Earth Shatter already for this next fight. Constant on the other side, 57%, so a little bit of main tank difference in that first fight.
He gets walled off, but he'll be looking now for this Shatter, and he's gonna try and do it at a big period in time. He's got this Fire Strike right through that window, not able to find any juice, and the Milky Man with the Shatter. He's able to find 3, but he gets picked off by Rymazing. And it's just up to his team to clean up now, and clean up now they will, unless Constant has anything to say about it. 2 kills from the Fire Strike before he falls, and the supports plus the May have a Reaper Diva to deal with, and will they deal with it? The beat comes out from Side Hustle just to keep on stalling this point, and it's such a scrappy fight now, Ocean.
Yeah, and the Starfire comes in from Basilisk as they try to get back into the fight, and they will do. They've got 2 kills, and it's looking really good now for Dripping Heat.
Yeah, Dripping Heat, they're just able to out-sustain Side Hustle here, and although they will stall out with Eli and the Diva, they're just milking these points. Milky Man will be back again in a minute. There goes the Immo. They just want all this percentage, and they'll finally cap the point, Dripping Heat. No, they won't! As I say that, Edison back on point. They're just not leaving.
Yeah, they also will have this Lucio on point next, and then after that will be a Baptiste on point potentially from Mortality Field. Nah, okay, 76% though. That's maybe 2 fights. If you win, then you only have to deal with maybe 1-2 fights. So that's not bad for Side Hustle. They also have both DPS ultimates available, and both of them can be fight winners in this Brawl versus Brawl matchup. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Dripping Heat, they have to be able to stop them getting in. If they let Side Hustle get into the fight for free, they're going to be in trouble.
Exactly. Milky Man, he's almost at this Shatter as well. Same with Constant, but they'll be looking to freeze the Diva, I would assume. Try and get this Death Blossom off into the backlines, and there's the Death Blossom in the backlines. Finds Basilisk, but Edison will fall to the Diva Bomb as Eli's able to pick off Constant. The team fight rages, and it's a 5v4 in favor of Side Hustle here. They still have these ults on lines. Milky Man almost with the Shatter, and the wall will just come right out. And the Blizzard used that, freezing up the entirety of Side Hustle. That's a really nice Blizzard, but will it be enough? It doesn't look like it, Ocean.
Yeah, they didn't really get any kills off it, and Dripping Heat, they had to stop Side Hustle getting a play set up, or even getting players into positions in these nice, neat off angles. Otherwise, it was going to be really, really difficult for them, especially with the DPS ultimates that Side Hustle has, and they weren't able to do that. Now, Dripping Heat going into this next fight, they've got to build up this sound barrier, otherwise they don't really have much.
Exactly, they're coming in here with not much at all, and Milky Man, he gets his Shatter blocked, but he's just going to keep swinging again to try and build it up. And they've got that Immo, they've got that beat to sustain him. And both Reinhardts, it's now just a question of which main tank gets the most sustain, and it's clearly not Constant. He falls first, and the DPS supports over on Side Hustle. They've taken out 3 between them. Orchid popping off and killing 2, and Milky Man, he's just constantly in the kill feed. Dripping Heat, they're managing to clear Side Hustle off a point, but it doesn't matter. Maximus finding 2, and there's the May wall again. to keep Dripping Heat off the point. Side Hustle takes map 1 in a very nice back and forth.
Yeah, Dripping Heat, again, they can't get a consistent last fight. That last fight, yes, you get an engagement, but my amazing Steph Wilson, was that really a great engagement tool? Was it the engagement that they wanted to make? I mean, it's not the worst idea in the world, but the execution of it was extremely poor. And then late in the fight, you're kind of relying on Basilisk's sound barrier, but, well, lo and behold, your opponent's fish cake and the rest of Side Hustle have a sound barrier as well. And Side Hustle, they take a really good start to this series.
Yeah, Side Hustle with a great starting point there. There's really not much that can be said that hasn't already been said, Side Hustle, they played it methodical against Dripping Heat, and they managed to come back and, I guess, take even lost fights and just push them on for an extra 20, 30%, and it all made a difference in the end. It added up. Couple that with some very interesting May rollouts, to say the least, and you've had a really enjoyable first round so far.
What I really like when I watch Side Hustle play this brawl versus brawl matchup is look at their May, look at their Reaper. They're taking little tight angles. They're looking at angles. They're not playing, when you think of brawl, you think of just 6 people in a straight line running at you. Actually, if you look at it, they've maybe got their Reinhardt and they maybe got their May right beside their Reinhardt. But then you've also got that Reaper maybe on the side, just putting on pressure on that Reinhardt. Their Lucio is putting pressure. Fish cake, always putting pressure on the constant, maybe just booping him backwards and trying to make life difficult. When you've got all these different angles, it's very difficult for Reinhardt to deal with that, especially when they're getting booped backwards, a lot of CCs coming onto them, and they're just making absolute hell for Constant to deal with it. And I think that was definitely shown in that first map.
I mean, I think another big talking point is the supports from both teams. They both played very aggressive, got a lot of kills, and on top of that, Side Hustle, a terrific job at keeping Milky Man up. He was always in there, in the fray of the fight, in the thick of things, swinging away, and his supports always seem to be in a right position to either drop a beat, throw in an immo, or just keep him up. And it was a key aspect, I believe, for Side Hustle in winning that, was having that sustain onto Milky Man.
And yeah, and when I think of Dripping Heat, when I think of their main player Basilisk, right, and I do want to go back to this, make your opponent's Reinhardt and main tank's life a living hell. Because it's so important in this brawl competition. Basilisk was brilliant at annoying main tanks and pestering backlines during the backup brawl competition and during last Open Division season. Why we're not seeing it in this matchup, I'm not so sure. But one thing is apparent. When I'm watching Dripping Heat currently, it's one very straightforward brawl that can be easily broken down by different off angles or different pressure from areas you don't expect. It can be easily broken. It's not a very diverse style of brawl, and Side Hustle just seem to have their number right now.
Yeah, I think once again tonight we're seeing a more coordinated team coming out on top. I don't think it's unfair to say that both teams are great and have the potential for this to still go either way, because it's not exactly written off after one map. Dripping Heat could come back for all we know and fully sweep Side Hustle to the side. But that first map was rather telling in Side Hustle's coordination and the different play style that Dripping Heat weren't able to handle fully.
Yeah, also I want to talk about Eli, because Eli, as a May player, and it's any hero that Eli plays, loves to make plays. You saw that play on the hanger, wants to make that play, wants to get that aggressive blizzard off. Didn't work on that occasion, but other times just walling off at the end of maps. Eli loves to make these plays, and it's working out for them currently. Maybe that's something that Dripping Heat might want to look to punish later on.
Yeah, I think if Dripping Heat can find a reliable way to shut down Eli, they will have a lot easier of a time at the moment, because Eli's been so creative with his May play, his positioning, his angles, what he actually does with the May. Because as soon as he gets that May Blizzard, which he's been farming so quickly, he disappears. He's not in the front line anymore. He's off on his own mission to try and find the best possible way to mess you up with a well-placed Blizzard. And it's worked surprisingly well.
I mean, Eli's just a great player. Like, Eli is absolutely fantastic. We've seen it in EMEA, and this time we're seeing it in North America. And we're also going to see it on Watchpoint Gibraltar, as that is the map that Dripping Heat have selected. And we'll see what they opt for here. I mean, I doubt we're going to see Brawl here. I've seen some teams attempt just to force a Brawl mirror matchup on Gibraltar, and it's not gone the greatest, but we'll see what happens here. I imagine it's going to be some sort of double bubble or ball diva composition. We'll see if Drippin' Heat are well practiced here on that, and I think this is definitely one way of getting out of that brawl matchup that you struggled on with on Oasis.
Yeah, I think that I would see a dive. You know, Gibraltar is a very dive-heavy map. There's not too much opportunity for a brawl to be played here. Even poke is really strong. You know, on that high ground, there's not too many like opportunities to get towards it. There's tight corridors that it doesn't suit brawl the best. I don't feel.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like, you know, when you just kind of got ruled in a brawl mirror matchup, getting away from that is critical, and I don't really think we'll have a brawl mirror matchup here on Watchpoint Gibraltar, so that's something a comfortable thing for Drippin' Heat to know. They're not in that matchup that they really struggle with, and they can maybe come up with something different.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We do see this brawl coming out early from the defense side of Drippin' Heat, and depending on how Side Hustle play this, it's quite possible that it is the stronger matchup, especially if they can rush them right out the gate. But if Side Hustle just go on the high ground and ignore the low ground entirely, Drippin' Heat are in a terrible position to be fallen down onto.
I don't think they could have possibly been seen, but Milky Man was looking directly at that room. Actually, there's a symmetric teleport right above them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think Drippin' Heat, they did have a good strategy, but they played it just poorly, and they're caught out now as Eli is just able to laser in that damage with Milky Man Heslering into the room, and constantly he gets antied. They're just trapped in that room now. They can't get out because Milky Man, he's all over them. The Milkman's knocking at the door and nobody wants to answer currently. They can't leave the room no matter how strong they think they are, and they try to, but Edison just picks up Basilisk and Eli. That gives him the opportunity for him and Milky Man to just surge forward. The Milkman is in the house. That was a terrible innuendo, but it doesn't matter.
Please don't say that one again, but maybe this one, like, you know, that's a normal symmetric teleporter strategy for Watchpoint Gibraltar, just to go to that space for your Zarya and your Lucio, or sorry, your Zarya and your Honor to take space with your Perdita. That's a normal thing to see on Watchpoint Gibraltar. But someone must have revealed themselves, because Milky Man was straight into that door.
Yeah, I think it was Constant who gets stuck and just melted down instantly. Eli, he's tearing through them, hot knife through butter, and there goes the primal from Milky Man just to clean up this fight. The Angry Monkey is in. He's in play. It's over, this fight. They're just going to push the payload further.
Yeah, and you don't really want to be on Burrow on Watchpoint Gibraltar, so they're going to have to get off this composition, but will they? I mean, they've got the Blizzard, they've got the Death Blossom, they've got the Amplification Matrix. They don't want to get off this composition right now, but they sort of have to.
I think they're being really stubborn here, especially Constant. Like, he's only on 45% on this Shatter at this point in time. I don't see the brawl working for any period of time. Even with these ultimates, I think Side Hustle have the better sustain onto it. And we see that they take this high ground position, and although Kurama's just trying to melt through them, Milky Man, he gets the nano, and what could be done against a nanoed Winston as Constant? He just goes incredibly low, and all the cooldowns need to be used to keep him alive. And there's the grab, really huge there, coming out from Maximus. He will die to a Death Blossom, but it doesn't matter, because Milky Man's poured enough damage into there to take out 2-0, and it's just, again, we're seeing Drippin' Heat caught in a room. They have to pop Pete to get out, and they do pick off Fish Cake this time. So they're down a support on Side Hustle, but they're still getting these picks. They're still getting this sustain. It's crazy. And we see Eli with this pulse bomb now. He'll be looking for an interesting angle with his ults, like he always is. And he spotted one. LPZO, he's falling low, and the supports, they're bare in the back lines as Milky Man will pop out another primal we see. But here comes the bomb. In from LPZO. Doesn't find anybody, but the shatter from Constant finds 4, and that's just a really simple way to win a team fight.
Yeah, you'll be happy if you're Constant, you'll be relieved as well, because when you look at it, Milky Man has built 2 primal rages, Constant's just used their first Earth Shatter, and it has been a bit of a main tank difference so far, but that point, And watch which go to point B, where it's now extremely hard to push into this sort of hangar area because you've automatically got the high ground on the defense. That could be a map winning play or a series defining play.
Yeah,
so
I think
you'll be a little bit relieved here, but next fight you still have to deal with this mana boost available for Side Hustle Eli. So as the pulse bomb, and you have no ultimates apart from maybe Death Blossom next fight. This is going to be a really hard fight for Triple T. But if they can get out of this one, they're in a really good spot.
I think if we see a Nano Reinhardt here coming straight into a brawl, it could be a very quick fight unless Reamazing is able to pick off somebody early, but he falls extremely low as Edison pops the high noon, gets 2-0, gets Reamazing with the follow-up, and Milky Man's just able to pick off Basilisk, and that's another really nice fight win. They've just gone straight to point. They're pushing Dripping Heat, almost like Dripping Heat are the ones having to attack at this point, as Side Hustle are set up on payload and Dripping Heat are coming from behind into them.
I'm watching that team fight and I'm like, okay, well, you're running this brawl, so how are you going to control the high grounds in this map? How are you going to stop your opponents being able to take a team fight? How are you going to stop your opponents rotating? And you can't, you know, I think they're on the wrong composition right now.
Yeah, well, Reamazing comes in, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. What a Death Blossom, and the Nano comes out onto Milky Man to try and keep him alive, but it doesn't matter. He's pinned all the way back into the Dripping Heat team by Constant. He's going to try and escape, but he gets the pin onto Constant, building that Earth Shatter for himself. Nice stagger, however, and we see both Reinhardts with the Shatter now.
Yeah, Side Hustle now switching over to Lucio Baptiste, matching their tank composition with their support composition, so now they'll have a more effective brawl, and they'll be looking for this Earth Shatter in the next team fight, but I actually think the more impactful ultimate this time around will be that Deadeye in the mid fight. 68% currently, we'll see what Edison can do.
We see the Pulse Bomb coming out here from Eli, but it's not able to find anybody this time. Shatter blocked by Constant from Milky Man, and he'll now be looking for a follow-up of his own as LPZ goes in with the bomb. Constant charges in for the follow-up, and here comes Maximus as forces out the beat, and Constant Reamazing and Basilisk are just in the spawn room. They're swinging straight in there, and this brawl comp works surprisingly well on the third point, as it's hard for a dive comp to get to these high grounds.
I'm looking at this now, and Dripping Heat, they're playing with this new playstyle on point C. It's very proactive, it's very aggressive, and I love this a lot more. Of course, I always say on broadcast, if you're playing proactive, you're putting your opponent on the back foot, so this new playstyle here from Dripping Heat on point C really helping.
Yeah, we see Karama, he's looking for a nice little pulse bomb angle, possibly onto the supports in the backline, and he's going to find it. He throws in the stick from the high ground, and Milky Man is only saved by a well-placed Immo field, and there goes the Death Blossom. Reamazing gets 2, gets 3 again! Reamazing with another amazing Death Blossom, and poor Maximus.
Oh no!
Oh no, not Maximus. There's not much he can do, and the entirety of Side Hustle's back. It's a great stagger with another great Death Blossom from Ryu.
I mean, realistically, they needed that, didn't they? They needed a team fight where they could stop Side Hustle from getting any momentum in the series, and that's exactly what they were able to do. And now, this is a difficult team fight for Side Hustle. Yes, they've got the Sound Barrier, but what else have you got to really win the fight? Maybe an Earth Shatter?
Ooh, and I mean, nice freeze onto Constant, and it just allows Edison and Milky Man to melt through him, and Milky Man's almost got this Shatter, but it's Edison who's finding these picks. He gets 2 really early on, and there goes the Death Blossom, gets 3, gets the mech! Team kill coming out here pretty much from Edison as Fishcake steals the kill onto Karama. It's a really nice play. Again, it's the battle of the Reapers.
It's going to be a really important matchup between Eli and Basilisk. Blizzard and the Sound Barrier.
Milky this shatter right into the beefed spawn room, and here comes the Blizzard from Eli. The bomb comes out from LPZ, but not able to find anybody because of Immo. Again, the Reapers brawling it out, and Reamazing kills off Edison. Nice bomb from Maximus onto the 2-0, and we just see Side Hustle. They're using these ults to sustain. They're using these ults to clean up, and the stick comes out from Karuma, but it's not able to find Milky Man. He does stick hit, but it's not enough to kill him. It's just a nice cleanup here from Side Hustle. Dripping Heat now just want to push it into this overtime, you know? Stall out as much time as possible with the Wrecking Ball. He's spinning to win. But Edison, he's in there again, and Fishcake is just in the back lines constantly, Ocean. It's such a drawn-out fight.
I mean, the stall's been good, you know? You've actually managed to get a lot of time off the clock, and Side Hustle, yes, you can win the map, but how much time did Side Hustle go into point C with? Well, 4 minutes, and you managed to get that down to 0 because you change up your playstyle, you play a lot more aggressively, and of course a nice stall fight at the end. I think that's definitely an improvement for Dripping Heat. Whether or not that improvement's enough for them to win this map and then get a grip of this series, I'm not so sure, but I don't think this is over yet.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's over. I think everyone is playing really, really well. So I don't honestly. It's been so tight, and we called it before the series. It's been really nice to watch. It's back and forth. Cycles will seem to have the advantage for a while, but Dripping Heat really pulled it back on point C. They looked in their element.
What I am saying though is a little bit of a trend of whatever is the more active team, whatever team is setting the pace is winning. And I know that's like a general statement, and it's usually the more active team usually wins like 60% of the time in Overwatch, so that's expected to win more team fights. If you're playing more aggressive, you're setting the tempo, you're putting your opponent on the back foot. That's a great way to play Overwatch. But whatever team is able to do that in each team fight is winning the team fights. So what this series is about now is finding a consistent way to stay on the front foot in this map. And Side Hustle, they think it's going to be a composition change to do that. They're going to go back over to the double bubble, which we saw on point A on this map here from them on their attack. So we'll see if that is actually the way to get a consistent proactive playstyle.
Yeah, I'm honestly really liking the Ana pick from them as well. This Nano is huge, but we see Dripping Heat, they're just going to TP right over to where Side Hustle to set up and engage with this brawl, but Milky Man, he falls incredibly low, and it's going to be up to Dripping Heat to try and finish him before they can engage any further, but they're not able to do so, and he's just stood there waiting for them to walk through the door. But they rush right onto Edison, who's caught out by himself. He's just on that low ground, and they drop right onto him. There's nothing he can do. 2 Reinhardt hammers to the face, and it's all over. Side Hustle, they've not got the front foot here. Milky Man does have his ult, but they're just going to have to back off a bit this fight.
I wonder why Edison's in that position. Was he or maybe trying to build some ult charge? Because realistically, Side Hustle's composition wants to play slow, wants to build up nano boost, wants to build up primal rage, and it's go time for Milky Man trying to get the kill onto the Baptiste.
Yeah, he's going to juggle him right across the map, and that's a great pick, with Fishcake able to find Ryu Amazing, who's just come to spawn to try and bully them, and I think Dripping Heat got a bit too overzealous there, to be honest. I don't think sending 4 of your team to try and spawn camp was a good idea when you have a nano boosted Milky Man in your backlines.
Well, that's what Side Hustle's composition is built to do. It's built to get space and make plays with the Winston, right? Milky Man built up that primal rage quickly, Orchid built up the nano boost quickly, and they were able to make the plays because of that. Edison may have went down early, but it actually opened up an opportunity for Side Hustle to make a play and get onto that Baptiste. That was a really good play.
They pop this rally, and with it, they're able to just rush right on Basilisk. A large chunk of lovely from Edison there. He's just staring down on Karama from the high ground, and he tells him that he's not getting on the payload today.
It's going to be so hard now for Dripping Heat to even get close up to Side Hustle, and when you can't get up close and personal right now, that Reaper that Amazing's on is going to struggle to get the value we saw on point C. And trying to look for a Death Blossom now, this is their opportunity.
Oh, he gets Death Blossom, but he's grabbed and stunned, and all the cooldowns used on Ryu Amazing. He's able to find Milky Man, but it doesn't really matter, because here comes Edison with the first kill, and he gets the Deadeye as well, and Orchid's just going to go DPS mode onto Basilisk again. Pulse Bomb from Karama will find Fishcake, but maybe it's too late in the fight, as Eli's just hunting for the cleanup here. He's gone right in, he takes Karama, will sacrifice his life for it, but he's won the pride of the Tracer duel.
Yeah, 1 minute, 19 seconds on the clock now, but look at the ultimates, right? Milky Man, Primal Rage, Orchid. Nanobase, the key ultimates for Side Hustle are online. And Dripping Heat, yeah, you got a self-destruct that maybe could get a kill, but what key ultimates, what fight-winning ultimates do you have? I don't see anything.
I mean, you could be looking for a Shatter Bomb combo, but they're not grouped enough for that. And I still don't think that Reinhardt's the right play when they're playing so spread out, because Maximus able to find 2-0 just as he pops that amp matrix. Here comes the bomb. There's no shields to deal with it, but the entire team's just disappeared. Milky Man, he's popped that primal. He's the angry monkey in their faces once again, and we see Eli with the pulse bomb ready and waiting as Orchid, he keeps on finding these picks, brutally flipping fights, and it happens again. Eli just finishing off Constant, and it's another really well played. the fights are taking almost the same narrative. Dripping Heat get a pick, and then Orchid finds a kill out of nowhere, and the fight is suddenly on its head.
Dripping Heat have nothing for this last fight. This is last fight territory here.
Oh, it is 10 seconds left, and Dripping Heat have nothing. They're coming up on this pulse bomb and this death blossom, but they need to get it quickly. Side Hustle have this grab, and the grab is used straight on all of them. Nothing will be able to be made of it because most of them pulled in behind the building. But Fishcake finds Karama. Karama finds Fishcake. It's a nice little trade out there. Immo used early, wasn't needed for the grab. And LPZO will find Orchid. Here comes the high noon out from Edison, finds LPZO. But Constant and Reamazing, will they come in clutch again? The Death was used Constant. He will once again pull out the Reinhardt, the last second. The last second play, it wasn't working all round, and he's finally found just the moment of opportunity.
Yeah, but is that really, like, I mean, yes, obviously clutch play, right, to take point A, but is that Reinhardt pick going to be enough to get them to the Underwatch by Gibraltar? I don't think so. It's great that they managed to hold on in this map, and that's, if you stay in an Overwatch series, if you stay in an Overwatch map, you always have a chance of winning it, but it's just not getting too much value. That'll help them a lot. The Milky Man goes down.
Yeah, Milky Man falling early is a really, really big pick. You know, they're able to just walk forward now, but it doesn't matter because Side Hustle are just going to back off, and Milky Man will be with them again in seconds. They've got that one on payload, and they're just trying to slowly edge it towards the point for Milky Man and his team to get back, and Milky Man dives straight in, finds 2-0, but Constant's Fire Strike will get Orchid, and Milky Man falls well to that Reaper. You know, close range, he's not got that heal. That's, again, a good, quick fight from Dripping Heat.
I do want to talk about Gibraltar because look at this, right? They were able to claim that high ground, they were able to claim the defense positioning that you really want, and Side Hustle, they weren't able to claim positioning on ever get a team fight on point B. No team fights on point B, and look, you know that time back I was saying that was looking quite bleak. 2 minutes 40 to capture point C is not bad at all for Gibraltar. Yeah. They're in a much better position, and look, they've got ultimates online as well.
Ultimates don't matter when Edison's clicking heads, however, and I think Dripping Heat, however, though, have looked a lot stronger on these later points. I don't think they're well suited to first point, but they seem to have second and third on lock. And they'll have that quick reboot. They've got the new spawn, and here comes the Diva Bomb very early in the fight, not able to find anybody in the Shatter. Use that on Eli, he's a big enough threat to get rid of early. And Maximus will fall as well. It's very back and forth here as the nano boosted Milky Man, he's just looking for a pick. Again, he finds Constant already, and he's just going to be healed up, back down, and it's an interesting fight there, as Dripping Heat claimed the win, but it's still ongoing.
No, Romancing! You needed Romancing alive! He had the Death Pulse, and that was going to probably get you a win condition in that fight. So that means, well, they have to back off. Now, you don't have a win condition, you have an objective to what you're doing, but now look at this. Edison on the Bastion, probably going to try and farm from a distance. One thing I want to point out for Side Hustle is they switched over to the Zarya, not the Diva, or actually they kept on the Zarya from the double bubble. I'm not going for Diva in the role because they don't really want to play this high ground.
Ooh, lovely main there, just completely negates the effects of Bab's Amp Matrix, and Constant will get that, but Milky Man finds 3 with a Shadow. Will he be able to clean up from it? Yes. 2 do fall. Basiliskin, what was that ult from Reamazing? He's been great on the Reaper ult all game, but he's just used it by himself straight in to the backlines of Side Hustle, who had all the heals from the beat left over.
Fight done. Both support ultimates remaining for Side Hustle. This is also last fight territory because of the distance you have to travel to get to the payload. This is probably last fight territory for Dripping Heat. They were able to clutch it before, but this one is going to be a whole lot more difficult. Blizzard and both support ultimates for Side Hustle.
Oh, there goes the beat and the nano onto Milky, and he's going to walk forwards. And that's an absolutely menacing image. A nano boosted beated Milky Man walking forwards onto your team, but Karala will find Eli with the pulse bomb, Edison with the pulse bomb on the Bastion, and Side Hustle, they're going to be forced back very quickly into their own spawn rooms. Like for this regroup, and here, the pin from Milky Man finds Constant, but pigs come out from the DPS, and Side Hustle have no tanks left. Will they be able to even get to point with this D-bomb in the window, and 2-0 finds the final pick? I think that was really sloppy from Side Hustle at the end there, Ocean.
I think they're through, to be honest. Right? Realistically, you've got both support ultimates, you've got a Blizzard, so you've got a designated win condition, you've got You've got a support ultimate to gain traction at the start of the fight and nano boost. You've got a support ultimate for sustainability. You've got like that really easy base fight plan. You know, we've got an ultimate to win, we've got an ultimate to sustain, we've got an ultimate to engage with. That's what you want. That's like a perfect ultimate economy for Overwatch. They use both their support ultimates at the same time and get no real value out of it. And then the Blizzard doesn't hit anyone. So they don't win the team fight, they don't sustain, and they don't engage properly. So none of the 3 fight-winning ultimates that they had online got any value. And Dripping Heat, they take to their credit, they punish Side Hustle's mistakes, and Side Hustle, they'll be thinking they were in a position to win this map and kind of threw it away. I wonder if that's going to have an effect in the mental game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Milky Man, he charged in really early and left his entire team exposed, which led to Maximus dying quickly. And although he did find Constant, he sacrificed his own life and left him with no tanks to deal with all of the damage that Dripping Heat were putting out with this Reaper Tracer. Really high damage comps. And obviously, Side Hustle, they're looking for Dripping Heat peaking, and they're hoping that they'll do the same plan as first time, but it just doesn't happen. They're going to move straight onto payload and just get this early percentage of the cart moving.
I'm a little bit surprised they're not going for double bubble. It was so effective for them on point A, on not only their defense but their offense as well. I wonder why they want to take this brawl matchup.
You might not want to risk it, you know. The brawl is what they've been running, both teams, and they both look strong on it, to be fair. And Eli gets the early pick down onto 2-0, and Milky Man's able to find Ryu Amazing swinging away in the backlines. And there goes Orchid with another kill. He's been lethal on this flex support so far. Oh my god, I mean, Milky Man has that shatter already.
Yeah, I mean, Milky Man has been the player that Side Hustle want to set up, and why not? Contenders champion. Set up that player and let them do their thing. Milky Man will look to get a shot off of this next fight. I wonder how they're going to play it. I wonder if they're just going to run straight into Jibber.
Yeah, oh, Milky Man, he gets his shatter blocked really nicely there from Constant. It was a great block. And now there's a scrappy brawl coming out onto the point. Reinhardt, Constant walled off, will get pinned down, and the Immo just saves his life at the last second, and picks coming out from both sides. No team has a main tank, and 2-0 able to find Orchid. It looks like it's going inside Hustle's, not inside Hustle's favour right now, and it's right. Dripping Heat, they're able to find these final picks and just keep them the first point, and it's anyone's game now.
I do want to question not going for the double rumble. I think they're better at it, and I think they have shown they're better at it. And also, you kind of saw, yeah, Milky Man had that shadow for the last fight. That was their win condition. But you have to question, if you're on double bubble, would you have the nano boost and the primal range? Because that's how fast they've been building that accordingly in the previous stages of this series where they have ran double bubble. So would you have 2 ultimates to potentially win that fight with?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's all good talking about, the what could have happened, but Dripping Heat, the important thing for them is they clutched up on their attack for a bit of luck. They clutched up and held on point A. Dripping Heat now have a chance to get back into the series and tie it up.
Yeah, I think Dripping Heat will be able to, hopefully at least, take this on the front foot and just grab the opportunity, seize the opportunity, really, that they've been handed. They've got this momentum now coming into Side Hustle. Side Hustle looking a bit shakier towards the end of this series, and it'll be really interesting to see whether it plays out as expected.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. It just seems that Side Hustle, they seem to have lost, what they've practiced. They had the double bubble, they were really good at it. They went to Brawl, and now they're going for D.Va Winston.
I like the Echo pick, though, honestly. There's nothing to deal with it currently, and I think it's a real. I think Echo at the moment is one of, if not the strongest hero of the game. I think there's so much to be said about her, but her beam especially in these kind of comps. I mean, you see just poking really at the moment as well. Nobody's willing to go full engage, and Side Hustle are just gonna let Dripping Heat push this card. Just push it a bit. As they play on the high ground, they play this poke, they're looking for the ultimate charge, and Eli's building up to it very quickly. So too is Orchid, looking for that really, really quick nano boost to be sent onto Milky Man and just roll through the Dripping Heat backlines, which is what it looks like is almost about to happen, as well as Edison nearing that high moon.
amazing, trying to get aggressive here on Maximus. Actually, Maximus gets really lucky that he gets frozen on the high ground, but now the Nano Boost comes in. This is Side Hustle's fight to win right now.
Yeah, Milky Man, he's got the Nano Boost. Will he be able to find anybody with it? He does. He finds Karama. The ult there from Edison, not able to get anybody, but Milky Man pops the Primal, keeping him going. And Eli, he's right in the backlines on the Reaper. The duplication, Constant falls incredibly low, but here comes the picks out here from Dripping Heat. They're able to get these picks over onto Side Hustle with the Reinhardt, and Constant falls low. The ult there used from Dripping Heat just to get everybody off payload, and they've got these picks. They're pushing forward. They're in the best position right now with Diva Bomb online for Maximus. Will it be able to get anybody onto the point? No, Eli kills himself, probably with his own stickies. It's all over the place. Another ult here coming out from LPZ. All the ults being used. There's the freeze. Ult will find one. Very amazing. Finds two. And look at that. Dripping Heat cleaning up the fight. They looked a lot stronger towards the end of that series. Not
Dripping Heat take Watch Point Gibraltar and tie up the series. But we have to question Side Hustle right now, because Point C, they should have held.
Yeah.
Their offense, they changed their composition for no reason. Defense, they changed it again for no reason. And last fight, they're up by one. They have two ultimates, but they're not getting value out of them. They have the traction in the fight. They're setting the tempo, but they're not getting the kills. That's 3 moments in maybe as many minutes that Dripping Heat have punished Side Hustle's massive mistakes, and that's a map winning style of play, being able to punish those mistakes, but those are mistakes Side Hustle shouldn't be making.
I think Side Hustle were playing a map losing sort of playstyle there. They were playing balls to the wall, and it was too aggro at times when it didn't have to be, and it cost them dearly. I think Milky Man, he plays this really aggro style, but I think it needs to be tempered a bit occasionally, just to stop it from getting to what point it reached.
Yeah, I just don't see a team like Side Hustle making 3 map losing errors in as many minutes. Like in 3 minutes, and we saw three different looks from Side Hustle. Not exactly what you expect, but fair play to Dripping Heat on their map choice. They kept their composure when they lost that third objective. They kept their composure the entire map long. They kept their composure after losing a map, and they punished those critical mistakes, won the critical team fights, and now it's tied up 1-1.
Yeah, I think Dripping Heat have really been playing strong. You know, we've seen at this tournament already, they've dispatched of strong opponents, and Side Hustle just being another opponent for them to face. And it's been such a tight series. It came down to overtime with 0.83 meters in it. And I think we're going to see this for the rest of the series. I don't think any team is going to have a definitive hold on it unless Dripping Heat continue this momentum they've got. They've got Side Hustle figured out with this aggressive playstyle. They can just play back and absorb the pressure.
Yeah, so what the questions will be when we come back from break, right? We see Side Hustle. Can they control their aggression? Can they stop making those mistakes that are losing the maps? And the questions for Dripping Heat are, can you force those mistakes and will you punish them? That's what's going to decide the series later on. We'll see what happens when we come back.
We're back with winners bracket match 5, Dripping Heat versus Side Hustle, currently 1-1 after this interim, and it's been such a good series so far, Ocean.
Yeah, Side Hustle, they look like they want to be the dominant team in the series. They want to play a faster pace, they want to make more aggressive plays. Milky Man and Eli in particular, right? They want to be aggressive, they want to make plays. Dripping Heat, however, they struggled on map 1 where, it kind of favors a more chaotic playstyle. It's the control game mode. It's a bit of an outlier. But when we go to Escort, Side Hustle were in great positions to win the map multiple times, but didn't, because Dripping Heat were punishing their mistakes and Side Hustle were making those mistakes. And now, when you kind of go to IQ where mistakes also, again, can be punished, Dripping Heat, they'll have a little bit more confidence. You'll think this game is going to be a cracker of a series.
Yeah, I think Side Hustle, they've been playing their brand of gameplay at this point with the aggression, the Reinhardt going straight in the main tank. Obviously, Milky Man very aggressive with the follow-up from his team, but Dripping Heat, they've been able to soak it all up and roll with the punches, coming out on top through scrappy fight after scrappy fight, honestly.
Yeah, and you kind of don't expect that from players like Side Hustle. Yes, you have a very aggressive playstyle, and you're going to mess things up sometimes, then you're going to get punished. But that last fight on Gibraltar on their defense, where you have both support ultimates and you have your Blizzard, that is a team fight that is not really acceptable at this level of play, and quite rightfully so. Dripping Heat were able to punish it.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, so for Dripping Heat on the defense here, we see their usual comp. We see a Reaper, we see a Meg, we see a Diva, Reinhardt, Lucio, back. That's what they've been running, that's what they've been very, very strong on. And it looks like it'll work, but Side Hustle, it's interesting them flashing the Pharah, but they're going to switch to the Mei. We think, obviously, can't really tell until the round has started, but obviously looking at Dripping Heat, what do you think about that? Like,
I don't mind it, because Basilisk is such a good Lucio. Basilisk I've highlighted so many times here, because Basilisk is the player to highlight. He's so good in these Bro Comp matchups of just disrupting and playing his own game and making his team play the pace that they want to. Has struggled a bit with it on Oasis, but also Basilisk, as a municipal player, identifies the threats and goes for those threats.
Yeah, nice walls coming out there from both teams, and the Reinhardts are just going to duel it out, and Milky Man finds Constant, as has been the story so far for a while, but they're just going to walk right forward, putting all of this pressure on now. As Edison and Orchid, again, we're seeing the same 3 names in the kilt feed. Edison, Milky Man, and Orchid. It's Constant. And not the main tank player.
Well, Constant is still in the kill feed, just on the right. So, yeah, I mean, that was a really good fight for Side Hustle. Really, really aggressive. That's how they like to play. But for Dripping Heat there, they kind of took it. They kind of just let it happen. They didn't really disrupt them on their rotation. They kind of just let them rotate, and they kind of just let them walk under whatever target they wanted to. No disruption, no rotation, out-rotating from them. They additionally, when you see your opponents rotating, you either out-rotate them or try and catch them during it. Didn't see any of that from Dripping Heat. They just kind of got walked onto. Yeah,
Dripping Heat just acting like doormats for the first point, to be honest. It was a really quick fight, and the ults are coming online here for Side Hustlers. They've got this shatter from Milky Man, and he'll be raised up on the wall, looking for this shatter, and it comes right out but doesn't find anybody, and the Blizzard will be used by Eli, trying to pick up Ray Amazing, and he does get him, and Milky Man's then able to pick up Sinoid, and it's a pretty good turnaround here for Side Hustlers to win that fight, because they looked weaker, they got walled off, they wasted the shatter, they had those low players, but they managed to turn it around with some great heals.
Yeah, of course, Sino coming in for Karama, so you're going to see less of that Tracer. I don't think you're going to see that hero much at all. And in this next team fight, look at the ultimate Side Hustle have, right? They've got fight-winning ultimates, Graviton Surge being used now.
Yeah.
That boss up as
Everything
well.
comes straight out. Really, the Graviton gets 4, and the beat may be used, but it gets those 2 picks that is needed, and now Milky Man can just clean up the remaining supports, just chilling on point there. It was such a quick fight win.
I wonder if you can get a fight here on B with 5 players. You definitely won't be able to get a 6-player fight, but you will definitely be able to get some sort of team fight here and get at least some time off the clock, and that's exactly what they're going for, also with the Shatter.
Yeah, Constant, he gets frozen up immediately by the Mayo, but Edison finds 2. What a great Death Blossom from him to just try and seal out the point. As Really Amazing also uses his, but Edison is able to find a 3rd, and again, it's the Battle of the Reapers today, Ocean.
Yeah, Amazing. I'm not so sure I should have used that Death Blossom. I feel like that fight was kind of just to get time off the clock, right? You weren't going to have your Myra for that team fight. It was going to be very, very difficult for them to even, kind of match Side Hustle there. They were going to have more ultimates, and you could have gone out of that fight and said we got both DPS ultimates out of them and some time. But no, you also used your Wing Condition, your Reaper ultimate, your May ultimate, and now realistically all you have is Coalescence, and you're already down to 5.
I mean, Milky Man's just been vicious. He's in their spawn room, and all the ults are just coming out here from Side Hustle. They don't want to let him leave. It's a massacre. Look at this Milky Man. He's walking forwards. He's got all of this healing onto him, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. That's just an angry German man swinging at your team, and what are you gonna do? Look at him. He's everywhere. He's wherever Drippin' Heat want to be. Milky Man was there 6 seconds ago and he'd already killed you all. There's just nothing, and although the supports on the side of Side Hustle, they're trying to flick this, but Shatter comes out there from Milky Man. He finds 2, but the charge whiff. He goes right through the crowd and isn't able to pick off anybody, and that's another one of those critical mistakes that we're seeing from Side Hustle, Ocean.
When you're playing these pro compositions, you all have to walk onto one target, you have to have good focus fire, and you have to isolate other targets. So for example, if you want to isolate their main so that they can't get any walls and your Reinhardt can do whatever they want, you can focus on the main early in the fight and then focus the Reinhardt. That's something you can do. But they're not doing anything like that. Once they are in a fight-winning position, they don't punish their opponent, they don't go for one target. And that's definitely something I'm seeing from Side Hustle, but now the coalescences are coming on.
Yeah, the coalescences come up from both teams. It's constant stuff to fall low, but here comes the ult in from Edison, beat drop used by both teams, and here comes the ult in from Really Amazing as well. Nobody's able to find anybody. But Milky Man, he gets that early pick onto Constant, as has been the story for a long time. And Milky Man, he's got another Shatter. He's always got it. But Edison, he's found 2. Both support ults. They're not there. Constant gets shattered by Milky Man. He just doesn't want to give the opposition main tank any leeway, and the grab used there to just clean up the rest of the fight from Side Hustle, and Milky Man's gonna swing away. What a attack from Side Hustle. 2 minutes 49 left.
I do have 2 things to point out about that. As soon as I say they don't really have an objective, as soon as they get to the mid fight, they have 3 or 4 objectives in the mid fight, and they complete every single one of them, right? They've just completely proved me wrong. So Side Hustle really clean last fight and really exemplified how good their bro actually is. But also, additionally, I do want to point out, the fact that, we had the 2 coalescences, both teams neutral, the 2 Death Bosses, both teams neutral. What was the difference when both those were going off? Milky Man was pressuring Constant, and Constant was the player to go down. So it is quite clear when we look at the main tanks individually, Milky Man is there. But when we look at the teams, it's definitely a lot more close. So what is giving Side Hustle these advantages against Drippin' Heat? I would say it's because Eli is maybe isolating a target, or it could be because it's hard to see when we're seeing like 1 or 2 angles. If I was analyzing this game, I'd be looking at Eli right now, I'd be looking at Edison right now. Who are they isolating? Are they isolating maybe LPZO? And that means that the Reinhardt has less defensive resources. There's something going on there that is allowing Side Hustle to put so much into Milky Man, and it's really working out for them when they have a clear objective as to what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think Milky Man's just been putting it all on the table, and Constant just can't, mash with it. And although Edison, he's picked his hero really late here, so there may be a little bit of a delay if Drippin' Heat are able to rush right in there. They obviously don't know this, but they got the man advantage for a few seconds at least. But no, they're going to play extremely cautiously, looking for that poke, and it gives Edison enough time to come back to his team. Mabel used early, and LPZO will find Milky Man. There's another one of them crucial errors. He's gone in too deep, too quickly, and there's nothing his team can do. As Sinoid, he's just able to click heads on the McCree now. He's gone in, flashbang, fan the hammer. It's all over.
I think that Side Hustle, what they were aiming to do was, what they wanted to do was catch them in rotation, but they were a bit late on actually. They weren't aggressive enough. I think they came once the rotation was finished, they were all set up, ready to go, and Milky Man was kind of on their own after that rotation was complete. I think everyone else realized the rotation was complete, they couldn't go in and take the fight there, and then LBZO managed to get that kill, and now it's going to make things a little bit more difficult for Side Hustle now, but they're going to try and take an early fight to get some time off the bank.
Yeah, we see a grab almost out here from Maximus as well. The Re-Amazing just gets caught out by Fish Cake, but nice pin there from Constant onto Eli, and 2-0 is again able to find another kill. The immortality comes out, and nobody's there to swing into it as Milky Man falls in. 2 has been lethal so far this match.
Yeah, that team fight is, there's not really anything positive for Side Hustle from that team fight. I mean, you got rid of the Deadeye from your opponent, but that's not really like a fight winning ultimate, it's maybe a zoning pressure ultimate at most, and you used Graviton Surge, didn't get much. I mean, you're gonna post 4 ultimates for this next fight and a Blizzard, so you're gonna have some win conditions online, a lot more than Jip and Heat are. But your opponents already have this high ground. This is gonna be a very interesting fight.
Yeah, oh, Shatter Blood there from Milky Man, straight away from Constant. Both Reinhardt's playing a nice little game of chicken with these Shatters, and Re-Amazing though does find Maximus. That's a crucial pick out, and Edison now trying to brawl Re-Amazing on the McCree. Sorry, not Re-Amazing on the McCree, on the Reaper. Why would I say that? And we see a rotation coming out here from Side Hustle. They're coming back to this mid. They've got this nail, and the grab is also used to try and pull Maximus ahead of the Diva Wall. The Ice Wall. It's just not going to happen. Another ult used by Re-Amazing that just doesn't find anybody. He's not coming up on this map. And the ult comes out here instead from Edison. We'll find Re-Amazing, and there goes LPZO. He's off the map. He's gone. Same with Sinoid. A quick reset.
I think what happened there is Milky Man charged and sent LPZO into the air, and LPZO alternate fired off of the map. That is what looked like happened on my screen. That's something kind of critical that happened there, but realistically, the main thing to point out, Drip and Heat didn't get value out of that Death Blossom, right?
I think
didn't get value.
Sinoid. I think he caught Sinoid as well, because I didn't see Sinoid jump off. I just saw him die.
Yeah, additionally, right, they didn't get value out of their Graviton Surge, so that's a big problem. But now look, Side Hustle, they're looking to play aggressive here, catch the mark mid rotation, that's good manual, and both teams are looking to play aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, Constant's charged right in, but luckily he's got that ammo to patch him up, but Re-Amazing's gone. A lot of that damage is out already, and Orchid's just going to be able to help melt through them with the help of the rest of the team, and that's another team fight won. Just too quickly. Oh god, yeah, Constant died mid-shatter.
Yeah, not a great fight. Chip and Heat, right? They've been so good at punishing errors, but when Side Hustle are playing their game, they actually do catch them out mid-rotation. They're playing this ball style that they like. They are just looking the better team because they are more active. Chip and Heat are always reacting to things, they're always waiting on those DPS ultimates to make a play, and now look, they're caught out here, and they have to rotate again. I wonder if they're just going to drop on them here. I think they will.
We just let them disappear. I mean, Milky Man, he's almost at another shatter here. Surely that's what he's looking for. He's looking for the big one. He's looking for the big, juicy shatter, but he'll get pinned out by Constant, and Re-Amazing's just going to be able to come in and clean up the fight. Unless Fishcake has anything to say about it, and the main wall gets nice freeze, but Basilisk, he's still there. He's still DPSing, and neither team wanting to give up this fight, no matter how scrappy it is. And they'll get booped back and back and back, and Milky Man uses that shatter, but he's not able to get anybody. Yet again, neither Reinhardt able to land these big shatters, but Milky Man is able to land the kill onto Constant. And it's just over once again. Side Hustle, they've got this sustain, they've got the trickle.
I'm looking at Drip and Heat's ultimates. I'm wondering, could they have won that last fight with any of them? Maybe. They could have played a little bit more aggressive and tried to get Death Blossom off. But what it does mean is, look, Side Hustle, they've had to make some switches. They're not going to have any ultimates apart from Death Blossom and Coalescence. It's going to be a 6-pack of ultimates right here for Drip and Heat. They have to make this fight count.
And they've got a Doomfist, and Milky Man, he's made another game-losing error. He's just out, away from his team. He's nowhere near them. Nobody could come and help him. They had to pop a Coalescence to try, and it still didn't work. But Sansel, they've still won the fight. Fishcake, he's killed 2. Against all odds, Milky Man dies early, but enables his team.
I think it was a fight plan, because look, you're baiting them into that space where you can get a really nice punch, and also look, once that punch goes off, which I think it might have hit LPZO on the Diva, and then like another little bit of damage from me, like got a kill. once you punch that diva, that matrix is gone, and that allowed Edison to get in there with the death ball. So I think that was actually a really good coordinated play.
Yeah, there we go. The Reinhardt bait plan. He's better bait than anything else. And the bottom line's right of Fish Cake. What's he doing? He can't get anywhere. And Maximus, he will pick off LPZO's neck. But it's looking good on the side of Side Hustle here, you know. They're just trying to protect up the Reaper. And they're going to succeed for now. But Sinoid, he's able to find that kill onto Edison. But not if Maximus and Fishcake have anything to do about it. There's the environmentals. And Maximus, he's played so well on this diva.
Yeah, 2 environmental kills. And not only is that going to shut out that fight, it might shut out this map. 10 seconds left on the clock. No ultimates left. Switches on to Widowmaker now coming in from Sinoid. This is going to be so difficult for Drippin here. I think Side Hustle will have this one.
Yeah, if Drippin, he can just touch it, and maybe Sinoid can just find a hit. But it doesn't matter because Eli's killed Sinoid before he's even in the fight. There's nothing he can do about it. And Edison is just going to clean it up on the side of Side Hustle. They played this really cleanly, Ocean.
Yeah, maybe 2 mistakes you could say from Side Hustle this map, and maybe one of them you could argue is like a map losing mistake on point A, where they try to catch him out mid rotation and it's just a little bit late, and Milky Man goes down. Then there was the other fight that were close to losing at the end of point B, where you saw them try to match Drippin' Heat going up the stairs on the high ground, and then Drippin' Heat rotated all the way back around to point, and then Side Hustle they tried to rotate back around and meet them at the castle with the Earth Shatter. They also came a bit late there as well. I would have loved for them just to rotate, catch the mid-rotation, just jump on top of them. They had the ultimates to do so, but those mistakes really don't matter when they win the map.
Yeah, I think Side Hustle, they had a few mistakes, but Drippin' Heat, they weren't able to punish them as they have been on Gibraltar. You know, Drippin' Heat, they played really nicely on Gibraltar, punishing those mistakes, but I don't think Iconward suited them. I don't think they were prepared for it, you know. Kings were tending to be the favorite for hybrid maps, and anything other than that is really odd to see. So I think Side Hustle had that clear plan for Icon Order, especially with the Doomfist switch in the tight rooms.
Yeah, I think it was a really cool team fight as well. So not only for Side Hustle, they kind of were doing things they wanted to do. They weren't randomly switching up their composition. They were doing it with purpose this time. That's one change they made that was really, really good. They were back to making plays that suited them, and there weren't that many map losing mistakes. There was maybe 1 or 2 that I pointed out there. And so they cleaned up their play. They're playing the way they wanted to play and were more comfortable playing on a map that they chose. So they're back in the lead of this series, and we'll see if they can keep it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was close again. It was no one team's match. You know, Drippin' Heat took it so close a lot of the time, but Side Hustle on that attack were just dominant. They steamrolled through them. And I think Side Hustle, they come into this next round with the upper hand, but we said that after Oasis as well, and we saw how close Gibraltar ended up being. It's 2 CP. It really could go either way.
Yeah, we're going over to Assault next, and what I like about Assault being in this 4th map, so there's 3 Assault maps, but you could kind of see an advantage in playstyle for any Assault map. Like, for example, if you really, really like poke-based compositions, you want to play Anubis. If you really, really like dive-based compositions, you'll want to play World Sky. If you like a mix of the 2, you'll maybe play Hanamura, something like that. And
we're seeing that Hanamura. Yeah. No Paris, sadly.
Sadly?
I like Paris, okay? I don't want to hit a slander. I think it's a good map. I don't think Paris is that bad, honestly. I won't take the slander. I think first point is decent. Second point could do with some work, but I think it's better than Horizon and Temple of Anubis.
No, just stop talking. I'm telling Reef later on, and you'll be banned for the rest of this week. This is disgraceful. Honestly,
I'll never cast again.
I'm not a fan of that take.
I'll never cast again after that opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Sky is my favorite map in the game, but it's not here. It's not here today.
Sky is your favorite map in the game. God, you've got a terrible, terrible taste. My.
You just said Paris is good. I can say whatever I want. I can say
Paris is good, yeah, but
decent.
Oh, Sky being your favorite. Oh, I feel ill. Gibraltar has to be the best map in the game.
No. Anyways, we're going over to Hanamura. This is Drip and Heat's pick. I think they want to play Brawl here, and they want to play super fast style to try and get into this map a little bit quicker. I think that's something that they would like doing. I don't think they really excel at anything compared to Side Hustle. So picking a map like Hanamura, where it is easy to make mistakes, and you can play a bunch of different styles, I think that's the way to go, because I don't think if you're going to play a specific game, like if it's going to be dive versus dive, I think Side Hustle is going to beat you, and I think if you're going to play Brawl versus Brawl, Side Hustle is going to beat you. So if you're going to play a hybrid sort of map, where you're going to play a bunch of different compositions, I think that's actually a really good choice for Drip and Heat.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. It'll be interesting to see what both teams pick. We see Drip and Heat, they're returning to usual. They've got Sinoid on the McCree. They've got Basilisk and 2-0 on their really, really proficient support here, is my dad. They've been superb so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is such an interesting pick to me, and it looks like Side Hustle, they want to attack first. They want to get this over and done with, They were really good on Oasis. They struggled on Rush Bridge Brawl to those three mistakes. I'm not going to mention it again, because they clearly know where those mistakes were. Eigenvolt, they come back in, they look really strong, they're playing a lot more comfortably, and now it's time to attack. They want to finish this series. Drip and Heat, they're going to keep to what they've been doing all series long. We'll see if it prevails.
Yeah, we'll see, obviously, right out the gate. They're just going for that quick rush. They want to get a Mayhall. They want to get Milky Man as much charge as possible, which I think has been a really nice playstyle when it works. Because as soon as you get Milky Man at Shatter, he has the advantage over Constant, but Constant, he's got those fire strikes and he's 43% already. As we go onto the high ground from these rooms, and there's a lot of different opportunities now for Drip and Heat to approach this.
And now look at this, like Drip and Heat, realistically, they could catch them out mid-rotation. Now Side Hustle, they have the initiative. They can engage whenever they want, and realistically, Drip and Heat, they can disengage, but they'll always be on the back foot here.
Yeah, and there we go. Constant and 2 get walled off, and Constant and Milky Man each finding a kill with Pick, but then goes Milky Man. He's swinging again. What are you going to do about it? Well, LPZO knows he's going to kill him, and it's, again, really well played. But the DPS support's coming out once again, clutch in this series, and that's a quick fight win, turned around from Side Hustle after that nice rotation.
Yeah. I mean, I really like that, because once you get up on that high ground, a Drip and Heat can't meet you on that high ground. They're on the back foot. They can maybe disengage and then try and rotate around the back of point and take it at the front exit. That's something that they could do if you're Drip and Heat, if you're in that situation again. But Side Hustle, force them onto a back foot. If you're not used to doing that rotation, you're not going to be comfortable doing it. I mean, one thing for them is they've now got that Blizzard. That's something that they have to get value out of, but Side Hustle have theirs as well.
Yeah, I mean, Side Hustle have these ults coming online. So do Drip and Heat, both teams having it, and that's a nice Mayhall instantly from Eli, just to keep Drip and Heat away, and all the ults are coming out now. It's just an absolute, cluster of activity, but in the end, Drip and Heat come out on top. Side Hustle, they've used
the stagger!
The stagger on the David even, no, Maximus! No! Poor guy!
Oh no! He's gonna go into the room! Still alive!
That's brutal! He's been walled off from choke as well! Oh, that's just disgusting.
Oh, the positives for Side Hustle right now, though, is last fight, they got rid of Basilisk's Sound Barrier, Ramazing's May Ultimate, Constant's Earth Shatter, and now look at it, right?
They've got
Side Hustle, they've got Death Blossom, Blizzard, Sound Barrier, Coalescence, and even the self-destruct. They've got so many ultimates to work with. They've got to get value out of this team fight.
Yeah, I can see it could still go either way, If Chuo, if this comes out big here from LPZO, he can just end the fight with a well-placed bomb. But it doesn't really matter. Milky Man walled off immediately, and that's a great play. The Blizzard comes out just to save him on the high ground, and the bombs coming out from both teams. Maximus won't find anybody, neither will LPZO. He will die instead. Constant, he's just going to walk forwards, but he's been frozen. He's got a Coalescence on him, and the beat comes out too. All these support ults being used just to keep what looks to be Milky Man alive again, and it's a great strategy. They're pumping all these resources, and it allows the DPS space.
LPZ are running low, and they just need to pick up these last struggling targets. If their focus fire is good enough here, this is going to be a massive time back for Side Hustle.
Yes. Oh, the greatly timed shatter just as LPZO phases through a May wall, But Baptiste's new ability of just traveling through walls, and he gets met with a shatter.
He's already got the most overpowered, ability in the game. Don't give him ability to go through walls, please.
Yeah, suddenly you've got a Batiste in your backline because he's phased through the entire map. But it was really nicely played there from Side Hustle. It's undisputable. They've just come in and they've stomped it again.
You saying the sentence Baptiste in your backline made me think, imagine if Tracer had Immortality Field.
Don't make me imagine that, please.
That'd be so funny. But anyways, Dripping,
While we're at it, why don't we just revert Brig back to her original state, Give her Immo as well. Yeah, Immo as well.
Yeah, 100%. But look, Dripping Heat, you had a really good sponsor. You struggled on Oasis. You had an okay ag involved. There were moments where you let it slip, but there were also moments you had really good team fights. They're going. Yeah. They've got to have a really good first team fight. If they don't get point A in the first two team fights, I think this series is over. But it's so hard to judge Side Hustle because they can make those match-losing mistakes at any moment. Yeah.
It really depends on how Side Hustle are playing, and I think they're playing a lot more coordinated than they were. We see a teleporter strat coming out here from on the side of Drippin' Heat. Sinoid playing this sim, and they're just going to TP straight through. Will they actually make it? No, TP gets destroyed before they can do anything. But this beam, really good here to melt down this Reinhardt shield, and it'll just stop Milky Man from playing as aggressive. But it's Matrix Eli, he's going to snipe Sinoid out of the blue. What a great pick. And now, the wall coming out too. Backfield used really early from Drippin' Heat, and I think that's a mistake. Honestly, I don't think they needed it. They needed to reset, not invest in ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, Amplification Matrix is not going to be there. Actually, that's a match teleporter was there for a extremely long time. They just opted not to take it. They wanted to take the brawl there and then, and I think that's a really poor call as they try to not get into this right-hand side. We'll see if Side Hustle try to meet them here.
Yeah, but does it really matter? If you've got Milky Man in that room, Milky Man choosing not to meet them, even though he has that shatter, which could have ended the entire fight there with a big one. They're going to take the same plan that Side Hustle did, but they're going to go about it a lot quicker and possibly a lot sloppier, depending on how Milky Man plays it. He gets 2-0, and that's a great pick. There goes a lot of heals away from Drippin' Heat. They've got pretty much none in Orchid, and Milky Man are just going to cut through them. Milky Man's always there.
Sinoid's wall actually just isolated Teo completely, and Teo was just gone. And once that main healing resource, not main support, main healing resource is gone, once that Immortality Field is gone, because your Baptiste is just being walled off by your man, you're in extreme trouble. I actually think they played the start of that fight really well on the side of Drippin' Heat, but it wasn't enough. But now look at this next fight. It's going to be extremely important in the mid fight. It's going to be Blizzard versus Blizzard.
Yeah, we do see Blizzards on the side of both teams, and the Blizzard comes out really quickly there from Eli. He's able to just freeze everybody down, and Milky Man could once again walk forwards. And honestly, they're just playing Milky Man Smack Simulator at this point. It's
I don't think I ever heard that sentence before. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that, ever.
Well, you've heard it now. Heard it here first. I mean, Side Hustle are just playing that though, really. They're trying to get Milky Man onto the enemy team to just lay in as much damage with his hammer as they can.
Drippin' Heat, they have one advantage this fight. It's the self-destruct.
Oh, the shatter! Oh! The shatter from Milky Man with the follow-up! Edison able to pick off 5 with the Death Blossom! Oh my word!
I thought they were still setting up for next fight, but Milky Man and Edison just are shattered Death Blossom. You're all dead. Side Hustle, they will still have self-destruct.
I see the oh god, sorry. I see the Diva Bomb come out here from LPZ, and I think that they're going to back out of it. But no, Milky Man just gets it, and here comes Amazing on their heads, but he's not able to find anybody. As this fight looking a bit more sustained, Milky Man falling, and there's the picks that Drippin' Heat will need to clean up the fight.
Yeah, Trio and Basilisk cleaning up the fight well. I mean, they had the advantage in that fight. They had both scored ultimate. Side Hustle really only had the self-destruct, which actually they were disciplined enough to not use. So that means Side Hustle, when they get to point B, there'll probably no snowball happening because they'll have the ultimate advantage. Drippin' Heat had to use a lot in that last fight. But at least they're still alive in this series, and if you're still alive in a game of Overwatch, it's winnable.
Yeah, I mean, we do see a time bank advantage already for Side Hustle, even if Drippin' Heat were to win it quickly, but that again doesn't matter, it's 2CP, it's all about momentum here. And Maximus, he's right behind them, boot them all off the high ground. What a nice play. As Milky Man, he jumps straight into the middle of the team, and 2-0's able to be caught out. It's a quick win, in my opinion. You know, they've got no big healing output.
Trio has been isolated so many times in this game so far. Yes?
Maximus just throwing himself off the map in front of LPZ.
Little bit of what we call overconfidence right now from Maximus. But I mean, Drippin' Heat, they still have a chance in this next fight. They can get to the mid fight and survive Side Hustle's Blizzard. Then maybe they can get off their own, but at this next fight, 4 ultimates for Side Hustle and nearly just the Arm Shatter and the Coalescence for Drippin' Heat. It's going to be a really hard one.
We see Drippin' Heat taking right underneath and really nice play straight out. But the shatter from Milky Man again! He finds 4, but it doesn't matter because he gets counter shattered by Constant over on Drippin' Heat. The ults are all coming out from Side Hustle. They fused 4 ultimates again, Ocean.
Yeah, the important thing is you kept at least an engagement tool like the Coalescence. So yeah, you used 4 ultimates, but that's a really good team fight to win because how much of a distance you have to travel on Hot and how long the team fights are, realistically, Drippin' Heat have 2 team fights left, right? And this is the big one. They've got both support ultimates, they've got the Blizzard and the Self-Destruct. They've got ultimates to win this team fight, and Side Hustle will only have the Coalescence realistically and the Self-Destruct to stall out the fight. This has got to be the moment.
I mean, Sinoid there, he's already got the pick there onto Fishcake, and Maximus, he's gearing up, looking for a big Diva Bomb, and he'll send it right into the mist. He'll die to LPZ, and he won't finally be with his bomb. And look at this Drippin' Heat, they're able to just drip in, almost, and like drip feed these kills through the kill feed 2-0. He's lethal, killing everybody today, and Basilisk as well, getting his pick of the action. But look at this, Milky Man, he's back, he's got this shatter. Would it be enough? We see Edison back behind, but Milky Man, he's shattered, blocked by Constant, and he blocks Constant shatter as well. It's just a battle between them all, and Ryu Amazing, he's gonna keep on getting these picks, and at this rate, it looks like Drippin' Heat might be able to capture this.
They have to capture it with time though, otherwise they cannot win this map, and a draw will do. But they've got to hang on in there, they've got to get these kills to try and stop it going to overtime.
Exactly, and it looks like they are getting these kills, but the Bastion comes out there from Eli once again, just trying to get these kills, and Milky Man, he won't stay on for long enough, 22 seconds left. So, we see 4 minutes and 3 seconds inside Hustle's time back, Ocean.
Yeah, I feel like, though, Drippin' Heat, they needed to win that one team fight. The 2 critical team fights, you know, that last team fight on point A, where they kind of needed a bit of a miracle with their soundbar, they got it. That last team fight we just saw there on point B, where they have the ultimate advantage for the first time, realistically, in the entire map. And they take it and they make sure that they get point B. So Drippin' Heat, they're still in the map. And the important thing about Overwatch is stay in the series. If you're still in the series, you have a chance of winning, particularly on the Assault game mode. But Side Hustle, they have a 3-minute and 3-second advantage here on Assault. They are placed in a really good position to win this series, but it is not over yet.
Yeah, it's definitely not over, especially on 2CP. Anything can happen on this map. You could have 15 minutes and still not even get a tick, depending on how it plays out. It's just an impossible map to go on, but Milky Man's crouching forwards, you know, he's looking for this fire strike. He wants that ult charge.
I mean, realistically, like, even if Milky Man dies here and they just build up charge, like, I mean, of course we'll just get caught out right this one, that's not gonna happen. But even if, like, Milky Man gets caught out, as long as they build ults for point B and can prevent a snowball, I think Side Hustle are in a really good position because they'll at least get a draw and not lose a map, even if they go to, if their opponents go to point B, because in 4 minutes and 3 seconds you're getting point A. Exactly.
Yeah. It's bound to happen, and we'll see. I mean, Drip and Heat, they're using side hustle strategy. They're just rotating straight around onto that other high ground. And interesting to see whether they approach it with the same way before. They don't have these ults that they had last time round that helped them win that fight. So it's all about a pure raw swinging match, really, from the Reinhardts. And we'll see they move straight in, and Constant gets a nice pin there onto Edison immediately, and Milky Man, he's charged in as well. Managed to be kept alive by his forts, but that leaves Maximus out in the dust and just losing his mech so quickly. Constant able to just swing on the team, and I think that was another really poor mistake from Side Hustle.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first round of Hanamara, and we've seen the exact same mistake from the defensive time 3 times in a row. Whatever defensive side it is, they let their opponents get their high ground, they don't catch them on rotation, and when they do, have to eventually back off, or if they are forced to back off because of how quick the rotation was, they don't back off and then rotate themselves to give themselves the advantage. They're just going to sit there and take it, and that's not something you can really afford to do. Now Drip and Heat will have some ultimates built up. Here comes the coalescence and the engagement.
Yeah, but we see Milky Man with this shatter. What will he be trying to do with it? And he gets 2! That's a nice shatter from Milky Man. He's going to be able to pin Constant, but will it be enough? Constant dies mid-shatter! That's an ult wasted! And the Beat having to come out to keep his team alive on Basilisk's side as Eli pops out the Blizzard, and the ults, they're just keeping on coming from both sides. But it looks exciting, so they're going to prevail. Edison with the switch over to the Doomfist just to try and clean this all up now. And it's been a really, really quick fight from Side Hustle. They've just been able to get out these ultimates and just basically clean up what Drip and Heat weren't able to do with their ults. Like, look at that! Really amazing, pops his ult and just gets melted.
Yeah, I mean, Drip and Heat, they were in a really good position. After taking point A, they had a lot of ultimates built up, they engaged with the coalescence, they took a lot of space, they were in a really good position, and bam, it just falls apart. It just falls apart.
It's just gone in the click of a finger.
Half a second later, they've got 2 members down in the mid fight, and that's not what you can really be afford happening. At least they get to point B though, so this map is drawable. Reminder, this series is a first to 3, so a draw doesn't really do much.
You say drawable, it's still winnable. Ocean. They could still win this, We've got the unlikely first hold. It's possible. Unlikely, but possible.
But ideally, realistically, if I was in this situation, I was the coach, or if I were the players, I'd be thinking, this is a draw, let's move on to the next map. That means we can select the next map and go again, right? Yeah, realistically, that's how you have to think. You have to think about point B and making sure you don't get snowballed and making sure you're still in the series. I think staying in the series, rather than trying to win a greedy map of Assault, is definitely a safer play.
I think there is this uphill battle, though, with this time bank. 4 minutes, 3 seconds. That's not a small time bank to get a point and a tick. It's a real big struggle now for Drip and Heat, because all Side Hustle need is 1 pick, and they could have potentially won the entire series.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like point A, it's going to be an impossible hold. I think playing sensibly and making sure that you take a draw if you can, preventing snowballs, and making sure that you
say play sensibly, and look at that! He's in the backline! No. Basilisk, he's all the way in Side Hustle's backline! What's he doing? That's not the way to play if you're trying to win this series. As both teams are now just converging in on each other, and Milky Man getting topped up as Constant puts all this pressure on him, and they're on the back foot now. They don't have a Lucio to speed them out. They don't have these extra heals. They've just got a Moira, and they're going to keep falling low. Like, look at that, Edison able to pick off Constant because of it. And now Edison's just kind of free to do what he wants, unless LPZO can kill him. But it doesn't matter, because the rest of the team is there on the side of Side Hustle. You've got to be thinking, what was Basilisk doing?
If you want to be a great Overwatch team, you just don't need to win maps of Overwatch, you need to win series of Overwatch, you need to win championships. That's what you need to do if you want to break up the ladder, you want to get in the Overwatch League, you want to be able to prove that you've got that sensible mentality. Basilisk there is looking for a map-winning play. When they realistically need to play sensibly and make sure they stay in this series to get a series win, because that's what gets you the results. You don't go to the grand finals after winning a map. That's not how it works here in Overwatch. And now look, Side Hustle, look at their ultimates. They're gonna have 5, maybe 6 ultimates this next fight. At Drip and Heat, they're gonna pay the price for that mistake, I feel.
I think it's clear in the Lucius as well. We see Basilisk going on 50%, whereas Fishcake's got that ult already. And here comes the ult down from Sinoid. Will he be able to actually get anybody? He does. He gets a couple, but it doesn't really matter. Milky Man able to find Sinoid himself, and he's going to walk forwards now. He's almost got this shatter. He's swinging away, and Constant's off the high ground. There's nothing in to block it if Milky Man decides to use it. Pretty amazing. Pops his ult, and that's it. Series win for Side Hustle.
Ultimate difference. Imagine in that case you have a sound barrier to keep your right hand alive so that they don't have that pressure and fall off the high ground.
But it just wasn't there.
We talked about mistakes right earlier from Side Hustle, right, and Gibraltar, and they lost the map. That's a map loss you get from that mistake. Right there, that's a series loss you get from Basilisk's mistake. And that's the big difference. Side Hustle, they'll move on to the next round of winners, and Drip and Heat, they'll have to fight for losers, man.
Yeah, I think that was a critical mistake there from Basilisk. You know, he played well all series. He played so well. And that one little mistake has just cost his team dearly. He didn't have that ult charge ready to get off a sound barrier, which he may have had if he'd just played a bit more passively.
I mean, what they could do, right, is they could maybe decide, right, we can lose point A in the first fight, but we can make that fight extremely long and we can build up our ultimates, right?
Yeah.
That's what they could have done. And then maybe they have 2.5 minutes on point B on a board to get a tick. That's winnable. Plus you have ultimates already set up from point A. I feel like that was the play to make if you're a Drip and Heat. I don't think you should try to win that map. A draw keeps you in the series. Then you get your map pick. And then it's just so disappointing because both of these teams are so good, but both of them let themselves down at points. But Side Hustle, they fixed their mistakes. And Drip and Heat's critical mistake was right at the end. And unfortunately, that sends them down to the losers bracket.
Yeah, I didn't see too many critical mistakes from Drip and Heat, to be honest. But the critical mistakes I did see were so much more critical than Side Hustle.
Yeah, as I said, Side Hustle lost them a map by making critical mistakes. Drip and Heat lost themselves a series.
Yeah.
That's how Overwatch goes. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for both of our games so far. Congratulations to R0 on that thumping win earlier against the United Smackheads. And Side Hustle with a 3-1 thriller win over Drip and Heat. They will go on to winners round 6. Curry, do we have anything else to talk about here?
No, not really. They were really good games today. Obviously, first match being a bit of a stomp. This one a lot tighter. But in the end, the best teams have come out on top and they will advance through this winners bracket, through a really tough winners bracket as well, might I add. A lot of big teams going out in early stages, proving the level of competition we've still got going. Yeah,
I'm excited to actually look at the NA bracket and see how many of the big teams are gone already. As I said, EMEA earlier, we lost so many teams before week 2 even happened. At Astra are out, Void 1 are out, Incendio are out. Like, so many teams at EMEA are out of the competition before week 2. And here, now, and I am really excited to see the bracket after this. But congratulations to Side Hustle. Congratulations to R0. Yeah. I think it's about time to wrap this up.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a great cast today. You know, the games were electric, and it's been just a joy to cast them.
Alrighty. Without further ado, thanks very much to Gluttony, our producer. Thanks very much to Reflash Production for letting us cast this series. Thanks very much to the teams that partook and everyone in the Tier 3, Tier 2, and Tier 4 communities putting in work on these teams and making sure we have some awesome Overwatch to cast, awesome content to watch, and awesome teams to watch. I think we'll see you next time.